conversion point.
The expectations have risen for our footy club, and that was an unacceptable performance tonight. We're getting closer. We've just got to raise our standard of performance again and get closer again.
Thomas breaks away, gets a good look at it from 50 metres out, launches a long ball, and then Damien Hardwick at the three-quarter time break came in, gave them a serve and got out. He was not a happy man.
We're still got a fair bit of work to do. The pleasing thing is we're getting closer to those top four sides that we've had trouble with over the course of my first 2-3 years here.
Well done, off the pack, Christensen, he's gone up again and kicked the goal. All that matters for Geelong is they have won the 4 points. Boy, did it take some work. Richmond really took it up to the reigning premiers today.
We feel we've let some games slip that we should have won. We think we're a better side than what our record presents, but we've got to win ball games. That's it in a nutshell.
He's never done that before in his life. Well, they're home now.
Dare we say it, honourable losses.
Once again, we're close, but we're not quite there. Our season really starts, now.
Welcome to the MCG for what is going to be an enthralling contest. It's the Tigers up against the Swans, and as we've just seen, it has already been a bit of a heartbreaking year. Some coaches, Jason Dunstall, say, hey, that was a meritorious loss. Some coaches say, well, it's part of the learning experience. I can promise you, I spoke to the coach of Richmond, and he doesn't think that at all. There is no doubt in the world that this team believes it's ready to take the big step onto the big stage on the MCG tonight and become a contender rather than a pretender. Welcome, mate.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, look, I like the way that Damien Hardwick goes about his business. He knows they've been extremely competitive. They've had a tough early draw, close losses to both Geelong and West Coast, but they're not satisfied with 2 wins and 4 losses. It's time now to convert those competitive efforts into wins. He's happy with the talent he's got to work with. He thinks this is a group that can actually go places, but he is coming up against an astute man in John Longmire on the other side.
No doubt about it. We know that the Swans have struggled on the MCGs in recent time. In fact, the Tigers have won the last 2 here against the Swans. It's all going to be about the spread, who can run. It's just going to be a fantastic game. There's no doubt about it.
It is. Look, the Swans are 5-1 for a reason. Yeah. They are professional at the way they go about their business. They get the job done. They are so good at finding a way to get results, whether Adam Goods is playing or not, whether Shane Mumford is playing or not. They cope without some of the players being there, and they need to win today to keep pace with Adelaide, who had a great win over Geelong, got to 6-1. They want to stay up there with the competition leaders and find themselves in the top 4. And the Tigers, a win today puts them into the mix in the middle of the table.
Yeah, it does. And a loss, of course, puts them 2 games behind the Saints and North Melbourne in the battle for that 8th spot. Early part of the season, but this is where it really starts to hot up. The Swans last week, well, gee, I tell you what, another 15, 10 seconds, They might have been able to pinch that game. But they were too good, the Adelaide Crows. Without Adam Goods, have they got the firepower?
Well, when you look through the lineup, there's a lot of experience. They've got a beautifully settled back 6, a good balance of size, run and rebound. They've got clever movers through the middle of the ground. They get great rotation through the centre square. Josh Kennedy's in outstanding form, but the Jacks and the McVeys and the Malcheskis, the Birds, all these sort of guys play their role. Sam Reid, now, he needs to play a big role for the Swans today. He has been touted as a future superstar. He hasn't been actually getting the job done. They will find a way to get the job done because we know that John Longmire expects the same out of every player that comes out in a Swans jumper, regardless of whether it's Adam Goods or the 25th player on the list. Sam Reid's ready to put his best foot forward. He needs to convert when he gets the opportunity, and they need to put this woeful MCG record to bed. It has been pitiful in recent times, but it wasn't that long ago that they won a grand final here.
Yeah, they're not bad in the big games, no doubt about it. Really good atmosphere down here. The Tiger Army up and going, and plenty of Sydney Swans too at the city end of the ground. Let's have a look at the Richmond lineup for this game, and it's a pretty good lineup. The midfield is there. You've got Martin, you've had Grigg, who's had more touches than any other player. Delidio's been a star. Big day for Revolt and Miller.
It is. Ellis gets the green vest as the sub, but that's not a bad-looking lineup either. They're starting to get a lot of continuity in their football with some of their key players. Delidio's been in slashing form. I like the way that Cochin and Martin go about it, but this bloke here's got to play a big role. We know what he's capable of. He's another Matthew Richardson in that he wears his heart on his sleeve. He gets the entire Richmond troop behind him, and they ride every moment with him. They've got to make every moment count. He's not the only one. Brett Delidio also missed a shot that could have got them the points. against West Coast. And they've got to believe that they can beat these good sides. They are good enough now to be in amongst it.
You didn't like Jack Rewalt's pre-match preparation for kicking at goal, did you?
Oh, only one aspect of it. I think he's got a fantastic technique, but sometimes you slip into bad habits, and he was leaning back at point of impact.
All right, well, let's see if he can lean forward and put them through the big sticks when we get the Tigers up against the Swans after the break. Jace, let's go and call what's going to be a ripping game.
Welcome back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Round 7 clash. Richmond, Sydney Swans. Always something special about coming to the Melbourne Cricket Ground on a Saturday afternoon for a Tigers game, and Sydney Swans always great to watch. Only missed the finals once in the past 9 years. Always tough to beat. We're not far from the bounce. David King, the two-time premiership star, will be on the boundary for us. Kingy, which side are you taking?
Dwayne, I'll tell you what, can you call security for me? I'm down here in the Richmond amongst the ferals down here, Dwayne, let's be honest. And the Richmond supporter group down here, and they're going crazy down here. They expect to win today, and I don't blame them. Everything to play for at the MCG here today. They come down in force, the numbers are strong. They expect big things from their Tigers today.
It is a massive game. David King on the boundary this afternoon. Swans won the toss and will kick to the right of screen here in the opening term. Boys have been speaking about Sydney's record here. They've lost 13 of their last 14 games here at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And the last time these two teams met, it was here not long ago, round 21 last year, and Richmond won by 43 points. But strangely enough, the Tigers ended up finishing 12th last year, a few weeks after that. And the Swans went on and played some finals. But this is a massive game for the Tigers. So to start their run, it needs to start now for Damien Hardwick and his boys. A couple of years at the helm, 15th in his first year, 12th last year for Damien Hardwick. In year 3, hopefully will start to blossom soon. Rewalt with Richards on him. Good crowd in here. Air of expectation from the Richmond fans. And the umpires, Matt Stevick, Heath Ryan and Jacob Mollison, about to get it underway with a big roar from the Richmond faithful.
Into the other end of the ground, Jesse White goes to the goal square, back into the side. Rance has been one of the Tigers' best so far this season. A pivotal battle.
Ivan Maric, the new cult figure at Tigerland, up against Seaby. No Mumford, no goods for the Swans this afternoon. Tuck, kick smothered. Newman, kick smothered. Little nudge on Deledio. Play on was the call. Kennedy, another clearance for him. McVeigh bangs it forward. No on home forward pocket. He sits a little, and under a little bit of pressure, Hooley kept it alive, and Grimes takes it out. But Batchelor probably had no other option but going to the line there, and it was well worth finding Grimes near the paint.
We saw Reece Shaw starting up on a wing. He's gone straight to Brett Deledio. He's got the run with roll.
Marriage straight down. Jack tries to spear his way through. Kennedy got a handball out. Crowd wanted O'Keefe holding the ball decision. O'Keefe wanted too high. Jude Bolton in the thick of it. There's 15 players around this ball. Comes out to Martin in game 50 for him. To Newman to the wing. Knocked down by Johnson.
Interesting, Tigers have got Cochin interchanging with Dustin Martin at the moment. Out of full forward, I suspect.
Kennedy to Johnson. Bounces it inside 50. Jesse White back into the team this week. Knocks it down. D. Maric. Hooley. Tuck. It's a hot start. Fantastic start. Foley, Newman, everybody getting a piece of it. Not going forward at the moment, the Tigers. Martin with the release kick. Will it work though? Batchelor running onto it with Grigg. Batchelor weaves some magic there. He took them both on and got the handball out. Grigg wanted to go backwards, not forwards.
They needed to keep going forwards. They got the switch they wanted. They found open territory. And that backwards kick allows the Swans to fill up the gaps and get their defensive zone in place again.
Yeah, not a great deal of communication by the two Tigers going for that loose ball. Surely the bloke just going straight at the goals had to take it.
Well, they're now back where they started a couple of minutes ago.
And trying to go out the same way. So Rance again has the ball. In the back pocket for the Tigers. Goes short. It stays in there a long time, but he hits his mark. So, Jace, with this one, the Swans have zoned up beautifully. They've done exactly what they could, the best result they could possibly do there, and it kept them in the defensive 50 for about the best part of 40 seconds.
Yeah, they did, but the Tigers actually did it really well. The switch kick opened up play. It was unfortunate that Greg made the decision to go backwards when he needed to keep going.
Now they're away. The 1-2. Tuck. Back to the Martin. Martin kicks inside 50. It bounces awkwardly. Out comes a full-chested Richards, who goes backwards when he had the ball in front of him. All he had to do was keep going. Kocher now opens it up. Here's Jackie Boy. 1, 2, and goal!
Self-inflicted wound by the Swans. Ted Richards had no necessity to go backwards. He was on his left foot. He could have kept going forward. Martin gets the ball and he just scrubs a mongrel in. Here's Richards. He goes forward. And he doesn't have to go backwards. That's just good pressure. Cochin gets the ball. Should have ended up kicking the goal for mine. Gives it to Rewald. Rewald turns around. Tries to dummy. Burns Cochin on the way through, but got the job done.
He's only kicked 2 and 2 against the Swans the last 2 times they've met. Jack Rewald. It's a big game for him.
And you're right, Jared. Cochin now comes up onto the ball. Dustin Martin goes to the goal square.
Jack tries to shuffle it out to Bird. Jack, hands and knees. Kennedy over the top of them.
What that means is Ted Richards plays out of the square, so he plays on the Martin-Cochin rotation. And Heath Grundy is picking up Jack Rewald.
Large number of players around this bounce. CB palms it down to Bird. They get the clearance. Jack. Touch play on was the call. Hope you heard that. Morris front spot. Off hands Jetta. Got it off to Bird. High. Full forward. White. Hooley backtracks. Got in the hole. Conker couldn't make something of it. Went to ground. So to Morris. Put a ball up.
Jason, do you get the feeling you're watching the Hawks when you're watching the Tigers?
Well, they are the best team in the competition this year at uncontested possession. So once they get it, they like to keep hold of it. They use a lot more handball, though. And we saw that when they were coming out of defence before. They're not afraid to keep the ball alive.
Swans good at getting it inside the forward 50. They've struggled the last couple of weeks to convert. Fighting hard. Tigers again. Cochin.
I think the great similarity is that they just pack players into defence and have a really open forward line. And why wouldn't you? You've got 2 greats in Rewald and Martin, who are just good one-on-one players. And, of course, the Hawks have got Cyril and Buddy.
And the flip side of that is you've got to run and carry once you do win it down back.
Miller wins the free kick for out on the full. Bounced off Johnson's foot. Over the line, out of bounds. So Brad Miller on centre wing for the Tigers. Gets the short kick in.
Gee, had to be good.
It was. There's Tuck to Cochin. Left foot kick. They're finessing, but holding possession. Back where they started with Jackson.
And a big day for Tucky because he's on Kennedy, who's just about the best performed player in the game this year.
Jackson up to Merritt. Off hands. Here's a chance for Foley. 40 out. He goes a little chip kick around the body. Richards in trouble again. Martin dropped it. It's gone. Martin's got the free kick 25 metres out. What a start for the Tigers if he can put this through.
It is, and it really gives them another dimension up forward, playing a Cochin or Martin type out of the goal square. Ted Richards will probably feel a little bit harshly treated there. He attacked the footy, then he got swung. Gone. Had his arms held.
But you just got 2 of your most talented players in the most dangerous position coming out of the goal square, and they're about to be involved in their first 2 goals if this one goes through.
5 touches in 5 minutes for Dustin Martin. He comes in. Second goal on the board. The 2 big guns have delivered. Revolt and Martin. Goals for the Tigers.
What's the ideal start from a Richmond perspective? If you said which players do you want to get involved in the game early? Number 1, you'd say Jack Rewald. Got to get his confidence up. He's a player that rides his emotions. So if he gets his confidence up, it's a great sign for the Tigers. Then you want Dustin Martin showing his strength, not just on ball, but also as an attacking forward type. Now, it wasn't the lead and strong mark that we've seen him do. It was the defensive effort. Second to the ball, but he tackled Richards and won the free kick.
Thanks.
50th goal and his 50th game for Dustin Martin. Swans are yet to get on the board. Played 7 minutes and that bounce will be recalled.
Boys, the Swans' first quarters have been a real worry. 5-2 against Hawthorn, 5-1 against Adelaide last week.
Well, they're true to form. I guess that's the one thing you can say. Ed,
Yeah.
they're going to need Jetta to fire up. Big job for young Morris. Jason, he's a kid with plenty of skill, plenty of goal about him.
Yeah.
What a challenge.
It's just got to be a complete shutdown role. Make sure that Jetta doesn't get goal side.
Jetta comes hard. There you go. Gets it on cue. Playing in front. Malcheski keeps it low. Spears that. Inside 50. Hits the deck. Delidio. Caught by Everett. Starting the game this week after coming on as the sub last week, Andreas Everett, replacing Adam Goods last week.
But from Stephen Morris's perspective, they're the possessions he needs Lewis Jetta to get where he's running away from goal, moving up the ground.
Seavey, Foley, Hooley was best on ground last time these two teams met. Got the 3 votes. To Jackson back into the team this week after suspension. And the ball thumped out of play.
Throw in on the outer side. Big Marich gets to the front. Seavey at the back for the Swans. Shaw slaps it further afield. Got the numbers the Tigers, but Jude Bolton does very well. Conker. Delidio doesn't want to release. Holds it up. Did well there. Jude Bolton in again. Jack hard at it. Throw in. Half forward flank for the Swans.
And you can just see on screen there, before we cut to the close-up, there he is. Jetta and Morris. That's Jetta's classic position. They like to win the stoppage. They'll just bomb the ball down. They'll try and empty out the forward line and he'll just go charging to goals.
Just lurking with intent at the moment. The ball comes out to Foley over the top. Morris does it well. They got away. Cochin again. He's been silky skilled already up towards Jack just over his head. Kid right to get his hands on it. Look at that for intent. Brewald and Martin again. Lock it in the forward 50. Great play by the Tiger forwards.
I guess the umpire had to ask himself whether the initial tackle was high, but it's been a lot of speculation about high grabs. Let's take another look. Looked like he copped one above the neck to me, but umpire missed it.
Richards is, they've been all over him so far. 2 turnovers has resulted in the 2 goals. And the 2 goal kickers weren't going to let him have any space at all there. Disposals 43-15, as you can see. The Tigers on fire early at the MCG.
On attacking 50. Another good tackle late on Richards. Time from Martin. Downstairs, David King.
I'll tell you what, the crowd are playing a role here, boys. They're like the 19th man on the ground for the Tigers at the moment. Any 50-50 free kicks going their way, and that gives the emotion back to this team, which I think plays on it so much.
Yeah, with you 100% there, Kingy. Parker bangs it towards the wing. It is great to come to the G for a Richmond game, to hear the Tiger Army in full force. Reid to Jetta. On the half volley, on the run, the kick not quite as good.
Well, that was really interesting. At that last stoppage at centre-half forward for the Tigers, they made Grigg charge back to become an extra man behind the play. They were worried about the fast break, and it looks as if Grigg is going to be the fast break stopper.
Damien Hardwick really picked out Jetta and also McGlynn, Jared, as the 2 players that have to stop running back in those situations. Jackson goes up the line. Nahas one-on-one. Good play by Smith. Reached over the top. Little toe poke forward. Did as well as he possibly could. Then goes again. That's great play. Nahas didn't let him go, though. That was fantastic football from all concerned. And with the ball up right on the boundary line.
And you can just see, Eddie, that the Tigers are maintaining their structure in defence. They're not going to get sucked up the ground because that's exactly what the Swans want. You know that you can see that they're going in with McVeigh and Jetta with small players. They've got Dennis Lane on the bench who can play a similar role. So very well structured and probably well orchestrated through the week.
Mad scramble here. White finally gets it out. It'll be a Richmond ball. Yeah, the 2 subs, Trent Dennis Lane in for the Sydney Swans as their sub, and Brandon Ellis will start as the sub for the Tigers.
Big day for that man we saw on screen a moment ago, Jesse White. He needs to take the next step. He's just been loitering as a fringe player, in and out for the Swans. He's got to make a spot his own.
Back in this week, no Goods, no Mumford. Cochin was a bit down last week as well. Trent Cochin, just the 18 possessions against Port, but it was a win at least to Newman.
And here's Grigg again. They just love using him as the outlet player.
He's averaging 30 possessions a game this year, Grigg. He hits toward Morris, and Jetta takes it to the line. Will get a ball in. David King again.
Dwayne just having a look at full forward, and Brett Delidio's gone to full forward, and what that's done, Rhys Shaw doesn't want to be stuck at full forward. Ted Richards is now his opponent. So first win in a coaching sense to Damien Hardwick.
Morris goes hard, caught one right across the chops, and will get the free kick.
I think the Tigers got the game on the way they want to play at the present time. They're getting plenty of marks, 13. Swans yet to take 1 mark.
Grigg to Conker. Inside, here's Jakey King. The push-up, gets one in the back. Umpire let it go, was good play. Foley Back he goes to Martin. Martin has options left, right and centre. He decides to go long and strong. Looking for Jack Rewald at the back. It's a beautiful mark taken by Deledio. Umpires called play on. Listen to the Tiger fans. They're going berserk at the punt road end. Up it comes again up to Foley, but good play as Reid gets to the front. Wow, listen to this.
Well, that is just crazy stuff. We're all perplexed here.
That was one clean grab.
It's been a mark for 150 years. Bird to half forward. Everett knocks it down. Can the Swans make something of their luck?
Well, Gary Ablett took a mark in the same place and held it for about a fifth of it.
Everett to line up here. The Tiger fans still irate. Across the face. O'Keefe will go. And well played Batchelor. Knocked it straight down. Newman.
Geez, he did that well.
He did.
Dangerous kick, but
Just the required 15 to Morris.
they are definitely playing a possession football game. It's 58 possessions to 27 in Richmond's favour. And if you have a look at the marks, 15 to 1.
That would have been 16 to 1.
Yes, it should be 16 to 1.
Well, I know that wasn't paid, but still that's a big win for Deledio versus Richards at full forward. I think coaching-wise, Damien Hardwick has read this perfectly.
Right, boys, Jason Dunstall, you're the full forward here. Tell us what was wrong with that.
It's a clean mark. He's held it for an eternity. It doesn't get any cleaner than that. Please.
Granted, it was in slow motion, but it was still there a long time, wasn't it?
Grab.
Absolutely, Jason. No dispute whatsoever. As the ball goes forward over the head of Morris again. Now the Swans through Reid, get it out. Jetta around the body, but the Tigers are getting back. Oh, Rance dropped it, caught one high. No, said the umpire. Play on. The kick around the body is from Everett. It's going to bounce through. No, stops on its point and getting back and putting it over the line. Great play by Dean. And that was a bit of cosmic justice for the Tigers, you would have thought.
The footy gods are definitely here. Made that bounce slowly.
Straight off the bench.
Oh, that was ugly,
So Jack shorts it inside 50. O'Keefe to line up from the paint.
That was a horrendous error earlier on. A simple chest mark dropped in defence. Rance just, I don't know if he had it spent before he actually took possession, but probably in hindsight, either way should have cost them a goal, and now it might.
Ryan O'Keefe now officially one of their top 10 game players of all time. Moved past Bobby Skilton. Touched on the line. Kept alive. White outside of the foot. D. Hurley just got a handball out. Straight back to O'Keefe. Has his second shot at it. And misses this one.
Well, they've got about 4 or 5 goes at this one. The Swans have yet to be able to get one across the line. O'Keefe has been playing in the forward line. Hasn't had much of it, but has just started to warm up.
Are the Tigers playing with fire, being too attacking when they're deep in defence under pressure, trying to manufacture hand passes in traffic to keep possession of the ball?
Well, I think that's the danger of the high possession game when you're playing against a side like Sydney who will push up and apply a lot of pressure.
Marriage gets to the front, gets the free kick. We just showed that mark again in real time just so we could see it.
It's still a mark.
That's a mark all day.
Bottom line, it was a blue from the umpire.
Yeah, it was. Now, look at this up the field. Martin didn't see the players running. Cochin decides to go wide. The whole emphasis tonight from Damien Hardwick is to run and spread the Sydney Swans. They're doing it beautifully at the moment, the Tigers. Playing the coach's instructions. It's working. Morris gets it forward. Now Robin Nahas, little chip forward. Out they come, and Miller takes the mark.
She nearly 50 as well. It was late.
They are doing a lot of things right at the moment, the Tigers. They're prepared to take the risks. They're prepared to back their kicks and hit targets, and it's paying off.
The Tiger fans, well, they're aggrieved, they're excited, they're pumped. It's all happening down at the punt road end at the moment. And what about this kick from Brad Miller to make it 16 points midway through this opening quarter at the MCG? Has kicked 117 goals, 76 in his career. From 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle, the kick's on its way, it fades. Didn't kick through it at all. In fact, didn't make the distance. It's punched through for a rush behind.
It's a really poor kick. One of the things we spoke about pre-match was making every moment count. A team like Richmond has to punish Sydney on the scoreboard when they get the opportunities, because they won't dominate Sydney for the entire 4 quarters.
Sure. 60-metre bomb in the CB direction. Marriage, fist, Jack. Past the seas, handball not so good. Foley cuts it off. Tigers on the march again. Deledio looks up. Couple of options. Grigg, the runner, pops it high. Won't have the carry. King, Revolt, not quite. Hit the deck. Nahas, out backside of the boot. Couldn't manufacture one.
That's a panic kick. That should have been a goal. He had plenty of time. He could have kicked it on his left foot. He could have opened up the angle a little bit. He had time and space to actually make it a much easier shot than what he attempted.
Geez, it's a pinball out there at the moment, and it is being fueled by an enormous atmosphere at the G.
So Hanbury goes up the wing. Nice kick. White. Speaking of colours, Black Caviar has just saluted for the 21st consecutive times. Boys, haven't doomed them. As the ball goes out wide. The Morphettville, was it? My apologies. We could have run in both places. It wouldn't have made any difference.
Great mark by Grimes.
Going to Doomben, of course. Second of the two races in Adelaide. So Black Caviar doing it again. We'll have a look at it later in the show. As the ball comes out to Hooley now, runs the centre wing. There's still plenty of space in front. The Tigers peel back, but the kick wasn't quite good enough. Almost a bit of luck for the Tigers. Here's another chance for Basher Hooley. Does it beautifully on this occasion. Then the marriage to Nahas, who owes. Handball back. Good play. Morris bombs it long. Jack Rewald's underneath it. Pushes. Marks! What do they do this time? Umpire wasn't game in front of the Tiger Army to pay that one. He held his position. One action and will line up 15 metres directly in front.
They're under siege at the moment. Absolutely under siege, the Sydney defence. Is that a throw, Jared? That little backhanded flip hand pass?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of throwing it, Jason. But where they're killing the Swans right now is breaking out of the half back line. And we saw it once again with Hurley getting the ball forward, and Rewald gets another chance.
3-second goal of the quarter. Jack Rewald comes in. Tiger Army excited. Swans fans are going nuts at the other end. It's a cauldron at the MCG.
Well, we were watching him pre-match, and in his warm-up, he missed about 5 set shots in a row, pretty much directly in front on the slight angle because he was leaning back at the point of impact. But if you watch him when he kicks this, he keeps his head right over the foot, he kicks through the ball. He uses the forearm. He doesn't get caught using the hand, so I think that's okay. Look at the weight forward. That's nice.
You thought that was okay?
Decibel level is way up at the MCG right now.
Think he might have got away with one there, Jack, on the replay.
I'll let you and Jason argue about that during the quarter-time break because I know you both disagree. Parker hacks it forward. Swans need something from someone. Jude Bolton can't provide. D backtracks. Tuck, they're inspired right now, the Tigers. Went for Conker, missed him. Kennedy missed Parker with the handball. Got Foley a little high. Jackson has been good in his return game. Conker short, missed Miller. Johnson ducked out of that attempted tackle easily.
Well, that's one of the few tackles that the Tigers have not made. That's been the most impressive thing about them, and that is their pressure in and around the contest.
Bolton's kick just smothered. That was lucky because McLean was waiting on his own, and high fives all round.
Yeah, it's a terrific smother, but you're right, Jared. It was a poor tackle from Brad Miller. He had to corral Alex Johnson to the boundary line.
Some good acts by D in the last couple of moments. Martin trying to crash through. Marriage didn't really want it, just toe poked it backwards in the back. Free kick Tigers.
The difference at the moment, Ed and Jared and the boys up there, it's 49 uncontested possessions between the arcs to Richmond to 15 for Sydney. They're just controlling this game and playing at their own speed. There's no hurry to Richmond. This is something we haven't seen before. Good control.
They're also hitting their targets, Kingy. They're kicking at 76%, the Tigers. Sydney kicking at 40%.
Yeah, bad play by Jesse White. They're giving up that free kick. Conker to White out the back. Miller searching for it. He's locked up. We'll have a bounce. Between wing and half forward on the members' side of the MCG. Richmond by 18 points, 5:10 on the clock as you can see. Another slow start, worrying John Longmire. Marriage. White got the tap, out the back. Good play by Foley, just sweating on his opponent Parker. Ball goes forward into the 50 again, bounce, which way will it go? It's awkward, it's Jack Rewald, 3.25 for Jack, will it bounce? No, just offline.
Shane Edwards filthy that he didn't get the hand pass.
Yeah, and I think that John Longmire won't be happy with Reece Shaw. He was side by side of the stoppage, but when the ball was in the area, he just let Delidio go forward free of charge.
Straight through, Newman pops it over King's head.
Oh,
Greg, he's hurt. Smith Short pass, missed the target initially. Martin plays for the free. Edwards, well, he thought about Rewalt and said, you didn't give it to me. Great tackle, Rewalt. Johnson dumped. Didn't appear to dispose of it legally. King jumped on. Should have been a push in the back. Foley from the pocket.
Oh, he's hit the post.
Gosh, it's a great start by the Tigers. They're being absolutely enthralled or being charged up by their fans. Gee, this is around the goal mouth that is ricocheting everywhere.
Have a listen to the Tiger fans.
Yeah, I think it's a tough one to umpire too, Ed, because there's so much emotion from the crowd, and they're trying to let the game flow as much as possible.
Jace, 32 years of frustration is boiling over in the first 20 minutes of play in this first quarter. Look at those disposals. Richmond 101, Sydney 45, hardly touched it. Chris Newman will get the free kick. So on the wing, Newman goes up the line. Looking for and finding Miller at full stretch. Great play. Miller goes short to the pocket. Martin comes out. Good play. Cleaned up his opponent. Took the ball to the boundary line. Couldn't quite hold it, but that was great football. Throw in. Forward pocket for the Tigers.
He's happy to bowl a few over, Dustin Martin. He doesn't mind physical contact.
24 goalless minutes for the Swans. Cochin tried to play for the high free kick, didn't get it. Hacked high, Deledio. Wide, Revolt with the reach. Get a ball in. Damien Hardwick enjoying what he's seeing, no doubt. Swans under siege. Marriage out of the air, kicks toward goal and just misses.
What's interesting is the number of disposals as it gets time inside forward half. And this may be of some surprise to our viewing audience, but 60% or just under for the Sydney Swans. The Tigers getting half or most of their possessions in the back half.
They need to get one here. They deserve it, the Tigers. Don't want to be wasteful. Look at that from Cochin. That was champagne football to Deledio. An out-and-out star. Kicks it long. Jake wants the free kick for Hyatt. Slapped through. So they're up to 3-6, Jace. That's 9 scoring shots to 2. But they need probably another goal here to get an accurate reflection on their dominance.
Yeah, that's probably quite right, Ed. I don't think they've made the most of their opportunities thus far. And you've got to make them count. Otherwise, Sydney will bounce back. And if they kick a couple of straight goals, and all of a sudden it's close enough to a square game again. So you've got to make it count when you get the chances.
Malcheski to himself, then wide. Batchelor flies, can't mark. Marriage. He allowed his teammate D to get that. It's banged forward in the end by Rance in hope. Close to the line. King couldn't quite keep it in. From one King to another, David.
Just having a look at that last Trent Cochin handball, he just delays this in the tackle for a split second to put Deledio into space. He just understands the game better than most, Trent Cochin.
From the throw-in, Grigg. Panicking. Cochin again. Look at that, beautiful. Opening up, Grigg kicks it to the hot spot. Rewalt needs to fly from behind. A bit of panic down there from Johnson. Thumped it to the line. Well, the throw in. Wow, the pressure is absolutely enormous on the Swans backline at the moment. The Tigers have got it where they want it.
They're just hanging on, trying to get to quarter time, the Swans.
Parker tries to find some room. Matner back to Parker. Gone! Umpire called play on, did he? Yes, he did. Jake King opens it up. Well, it might work for the Tigers as Conker will line up directly in front, 40 metres out. But absolutely, that was a ball that was dropped. Look at this. Gone.
Gee, that's a great tackle, Brett Deledio. And this is an absolute must kick from Reece Conker.
Reece Conker has kicked 4 goals, 7 in his career so far. Game number 24. This is a huge kick for the Tigers to go to a 28-point lead. You've got the best seat in the house. Conker comes in, kicks. Tiger Army gives the goal umpire's decision.
Well, it's been a dominant performance by the Tigers, and they're now seeing some reward on the scoreboard. 28-point lead, just shy of the quarter-time break. But it's their pressure right around the ground that has been so impressive. And this time, Deledio, it's not the first time. He could have got another shot at goal himself for an earlier tackle. But their tackling inside the forward 50 has today been as good as it's probably ever been under Hardwick.
1 minute 41 left on the clock to quarter time. Conker has a rest. It's a 4-0 start for the Tigers. Seaby, Marich, ball hits the deck and Foley. Houston weaves some magic straight through the middle of them. Pard the seas, might go for goal. Had another bounce, shorts it, poor short Johnson.
Well, Martin won out in the square to me. He's one of the best one-on-one players. He'd be going just straight to him.
Oh, there's a shank.
Could be a turnover. Newman, Marich, Edwards, perfect short. And Miller can line up directly out.
I'll tell you one of the things that impresses me the most about this performance with Sydney. They've had more than twice as many possessions. Richmond, not Sydney. They've had more than twice as many possessions as the Swans. They've also had more tackles.
Yeah.
They're leading the tackle count 20 to 19 and the possession count 121 to 52.
5 tackles inside forward 50. That averages 20 for the game. That is an enormous amount.
Just seconds left. Needs to nail it. Squeezed it in.
Well, this is just magnificent stuff from the Tigers. It's been a long time coming, and right now they'll be thinking, we've arrived in the crowd, but you only have to think back 2 weeks ago to when Adelaide got a similar start against the Swans, and they were able to fight their way back and take a handy lead, only to give it up in the final 10 minutes. So the Swans have got the job in front of them, but this is just electrifying stuff from the home side.
Well, not since Tony Jewell was at Tigerland in the coaching department have they been so pumped up. Look at this, the Tigers are absolutely going. 34 points up. The stats, Cochin's had 11, Martin's had 10, Foley's had 10, Delidio's had 9, and a couple of goals to Jack Revolt. This is as good as it gets for the Tigers. And the forward tackling and pressure's been enormous. Nahas locks it in the 50 again.
That was a brilliant tap at the centre bounce from Ivan Maric. He ran around his opponent Mark Seavey and then just directed the ball straight back to a teammate. An easy centre clearance.
So Big Ivan up against Seavey again. Awkward bounce, Seavey couldn't get it out. Foley in hard, Tuck throws it out, Foley gets it out. Conker, Hooley, Edwards, back it goes to Grimes. They're setting up beautifully, the Tigers, and the kick goes out wide to Morris. Morris kicks inside 50, here we go. Front and square, Cochin's just lurking. It'll go over the line and out of bounds for a throw in.
That's the wrong place to kick the footy.
Top of the square.
Well, you'd like to think at least to a more attacking area than 30 metres out on the boundary line. Nearly an impossible kick even if he marks it.
Throw in forward pocket for the Tigers. Not enough time to get another result. But have a listen to the Tiger Army. They're up on their feet and so they should be. That's a good a quarter that the Tigers have played for a long, long time. 34 points, 5-6-36. The Swans are 2 behinds. A goalless quarter for the Sydney Swans. But most importantly, the game plan that they came with to play today, the Tigers, has been adhered to the letter. Run and spread, pressure, and kick the goals when required. Dimmer will be happy with that. And so too the Tiger Army. They're up on their toes. They're ready to go. When we return, it's Richmond by 34 points at quarter time. Jackie boy, 1, 2, and goal! Richards in trouble again. Martin dropped, it's gone. 5 touches in 5 minutes for Dustin Martin. He comes in, second goal on the board. Jack Rewald's underneath it, pushes, marks. What do they do this time? It's for his second goal of the quarter. Jack Rewald comes in. Tiger Army excited. Swans fans are going nuts at the other end. It's a cauldron at the MCG.
Welcome back to the MCG, where the Richmond Football Club 5 goals 6-36 lead the Swans goalless, 2 behinds, 2 points. And what an amazing start to the Tigers it's been, with 2 goals to Jack Rewald, singles to Cochin and Martin. They are just electric at the moment. This is the coming of age of the Richmond Football Club. We haven't seen them perform like this before. Let's have a look at some of the statistics that show you the dominance the Tigers have had today. I haven't seen the Swans look listless in contested possessions. Plus 20 to the Tigers. Disposals plus 77. It's been their composure that's been the difference. The effective disposal percentage almost 20% greater. The pressure from Richmond has been first class. They've forced the Swans into turnover, and it's prove dividends on the scoreboard this term. I can't remember the last time the Swans were held like this defensively, and the scoring shots, 11 scoring shots for the term for the Richmond Football Club, is the best since round 21, 2008. John Longmire would not be happy with what he's seeing, Dwayne, Jared and Jason, but I tell you what, this is the new Richmond Football Club under Damien Hardwick.
Now, you're right, Kingy. It's an amazing first term. I can't recall a team just having 52 possessions for a quarter of footy. Now, if you average that out over a game, that's 208 possessions for a game of footy. That's old school footy, Jared.
That's vintage. That's 1970 grand final when Jezelenko Ubuti was dominating the half forward line, and a good game for a keeper, for a midfielder, was an 18 possession game.
Could you have picked another
Sorry,
grand final?
just for you. That one.
34 points the margin. Second term underway. Marriage, Seaby. Resume hostilities. Shaw nudged a little. No free. Another big pack around this. Umpire needs to sort it out.
They've beaten the Swans at their own game, Jason. Clearances, stoppages, pressure. It's all one way at the present time. The Swans are starting to fumble as a result.
Still goalless, the Swans. Hard to believe that their record here at the G in recent times horrendous. Martin dropped it as he was dropped. Soccer off the deck didn't work. Kennedy to O'Keefe. Wide ball. Parker knocked away by D. Fights on. Both of them fight on. Flicked out to the back. Bolton. O'Keefe. Experienced players need to play a hand now. Inside 50. Newman let it drop. Reed. It's been that kind of year for him. Little fumble. Parker tries to strip it. Crowd want a little bit more love from the umpires. They didn't get much, the Richmond fans, in the opening term. We'll get a ball up.
I guess we're just here sitting back and waiting for the response from the Swans, and they've been such an honest, reliable side over the last decade. You expect that by half-time they'll have eaten into some of this lead, but the Tigers got to say about that as well.
Everett snap out of the pack. Good play by Rance. Almost took the mark there. They threw it over his head. Beautiful play. And it comes to Morris. Morris's chip kick is a beauty. I tell you what, for an inexperienced player, I know he's a mature age recruit, Morris. He runs to the right spots, and his disposal with poise has been fantastic.
There it is.
And that's not what a poised disposal is all about, as Hanbury makes the Tigers pay, and the turnover is complete, and the Swans are on the scoreboard. Beautiful play by Daniel Hanbury.
Well, we just got a shot of Damien Hardwick, and he wasn't too upset, because if you're going to play this style of football where you take risks, you use the footy, you chip it around, mistakes will eventually be made. Now, this is a very costly one, but it's a byproduct of the style of game they're playing.
That's true, Jason. It was a fantastic individual effort by Daniel Hanbury, though, to come through, kick it from outside 50. He went through halfway up the post, so it was a great conversion.
You're right, Jared. No ordinary goal, that. It's got some class. Finally, the Swans are on the board. Marriage, perfect palm down. Foley, to Newman. Pokes it wide, hoping for Miller. Got hands to it. Johnson got a fist to it at the same time. Miller half had him. Johnson half had him. Takes it to the line. Been a bit of a whipping boy in times, Brad Miller. Father played a few more games for the Swans. He would have been a father-son for the Swans. Just the 28 games, though, for Sydney. Not enough under the current criteria. Ball rolls through a couple. And umpires found a high. Richmond's ball. Foley.
I think more a whipping boy at the Demons than he has been at Richmond, where he's consolidated this year his spot.
Rewild from 4 deep. Tried to crash that pack hard, and Richards content to see the line.
Can't remember the Swans breaking hard off the half-back line, Jason. The forward pressure has been superb.
Yeah.
Maybe their willingness just to take a risk at the present time has also impeded them.
Tuck tried to grab it out of the ruck. O'Keefe slams it on the boot. And that's the way they're getting it out, isn't it, Jared? Yep. Underlining your point. It's just kick and hope at the moment. Foley, Edwards, good play. Marriage gets a bad bounce. It clean bowls a lot of them. Seaby's in there. Nahas. Foley's been fantastic, and he's at the bottom of the pack again. We'll have a ball up on the 50.
He's up to 15 possessions already, Nathan Foley. Doesn't always use it as well as he can, but that's an extraordinary return early on in a game of football.
5 clearances for Foley. That was Tuck at the bottom of the pack. McVeigh ducked his head, got it out. Good play. Away they go through Jetta. Good contest this one. Reed rants. Reed kept his feet, flicks it over the top. Canterbury. Jetta. Need to get some run. Kicks up the line. Tigers everywhere.
Oh, did that poorly.
Needed to call it in. Now's a chance for Jack. Could be a second punish here for the Tigers. Off hands McVeigh. They've got back in numbers though. Good play by the Tigers. Up the corridor they go. Big Marriage presents. Gets the handball working to Hooley. Gets it on to Morris. Next kick important. Morris looks up. No one running towards him, so he has to carry the ball. Now he goes long with a kick. Needed to get someone to turn around and run towards him. They were all streaming to the goal, boys. No one peeled off.
Been good Johnson so far to Madner, Shaw, McVeigh, McGlynn.
Got Reed.
And he goes for Seavey instead. Thumped away from him. Well done by Newman to get there in time. Jude Bolton floats one to the top of the square. Everett tried for the toe poke and he was beaten for it. Blake Grimes to Morris to Batchelor. Martin puts the afterburners on. Kick not so good. It bounces. It might be to their favour though. Straight past. No, Grundy dived on it but lost it. Grigg short. Perfect. Miller.
Well, Rich Grundy just had to keep his feet there. He bailed out going to ground, and in the finish, it has cost the Swans a shot at goal. Great work by Grimes at the other end of the ground. That was A-grade defensive work. Have another look at it. He's under pressure. Everett tried to sneak it around to Kennedy, but Grimes kept his feet that time. Made a good decision. And got it clear.
And there's a hush around the MCG. Tiger fans know this is important for momentum. Strikes it well, Miller. Magnificent. And he pumps up the volume again.
Well, the hardest part from a Sydney perspective in terms of getting back into this match is you can't do it if you haven't got the footy. And at the moment, we've got 3 Sydney Swans players that have got 6 possessions to their name.
Yep.
There are 15 Richmond players that have 6 or more to their name. They're getting numbers around the contest, and we're seeing a few of the Swans players panicking. I mean, Heath Grundy, he was terrified. Have a look at the goal umpire getting under Ted Richards.
So Miller kicks the back-to-back goals for the Tigers with one in between to Hanbury for Sydney. So the margin back to 34 points as it was at quarter time. You mentioned Grimes, boys. Damien Hardwick was saying during the week that they were 4-5 last year and travelling okay until he tore the hamstring off the bone. He is a vital member of this Richmond side, and we just saw how important he is. McVeigh has it.
Be interesting to see if they can just control the footy for a minute, Swans.
They're just beating them at their own game here, winning too many one-on-ones at Richmond Football Club for John Longmire's liking, plus 21 contested possessions at the moment, and that is the hallmark of the Swans brand of football.
Bolton kicks it up the line. Forced to kick to a pack. No runners, Gerard Healy said, from the Sydney Swans so far. Bird is caught.
Gee, that was a good tackle. To not get in the back of your opponent running like that, Reece Conker did it particularly well.
White doing the ruck work this time. Marriage with him. Tuck the clearance. Nahas playing in front. Position 8. Sends it wide to the runner, Grigg. Thought about it, but Jetta was on the move to try and shut him down.
Wrong player to play on in front of, isn't he?
He, as you said earlier, I think, Ed, had the most possessions in the game so far this year, and yet no one wants to pick him up. No one's paying him any respect right now, and yet he's a cornerstone of the way the Tigers are playing their footy.
Delidio took on Shaw to the pocket. And Johnson mops up another.
It's interesting, when they kick long, they are, it must be tactical, but they are kicking deep to the pocket all the time. That's where they figure, if we don't take a mark, we'll at least create a stoppage.
Newman, turnover. Foley from the paint, sets it up. Rewalt, fist from Richards, knocks it down. Bolton got there first. Was that a legal handball? Martin, Cochin, feeds it back over the top to Marich, the cold hero from 40. Brings the house down.
Brilliant stuff, Tigers once again ripping it off the Swans with pressure in the forward 50. A couple of nice handballs round, and then the new boom recruit, Ivan, gets onto one. There it is. That should have been a throw and a free kick to the Swans right there. Jude Bolton just handballing that, well, just throwing that away. Once again, another replay of it. Good work from Martin. You've got really smart players all linking up. That's just a A-grade decision to get it outside of the pack, give it to Marich, who has an opportunity to kick the big one.
Every decision is the correct decision for the Tigers. Ivan Maric with the big mullet and the big play puts the Tigers 40 points in front. Up he goes, he gets the tap again. Foley crashes through, couldn't quite get it. Kennedy has been well held. Maric slams it on the boot, sits awkwardly. Back to Edwards. Here they go again, the Tigers. Out wide, lurking with intent. Hooley gets a little tap onto Jake King. Parts the sea, goes long with a kick. Up to the forward pocket it goes. It's Martin again. Martin's got it in the pocket. Wanted to play on.
It was a brilliant kick, Ed. I was watching Martin down the other end of the ground. He signalled to the pocket. He held his ground. He wanted it in that space. The question will be whether he used his hands once again to push him out of the way.
He used his hands, Jared, but I don't think they're on the back. I think they're on the side of the shoulder or the upper arm of Ted Richards.
Nevertheless, it was just a great bit of communication between midfield and forward.
To make the margin 46 points, Martin comes in, hits the post. Third poster for the Tigers tonight already.
Got to go man on man now, the Swans, Jason. They're just getting slaughtered by the run off the full-back line and the half-back line by the Tigers. And I think they've only got one option. They play well man on man, and they're basically, the game's gone on the scoreboard unless something happens.
Correct.
McVeigh down the line, Everett. Fist. They can reset.
I reckon it's a long time since John Longmire would have felt this helpless.
Yep.
Hit the post 3 times, boys, the Tigers.
Brandon Ellis, the sub for the Tigers, if you've joined us late. Trent Dennis-Lane, the sub for the Swans. McVeigh reaches in. Foley gets a right. Hooley, long possession. Rewalt in a good spot here, can't get up. Richards got the fist. Johnson playing some sort of game. Dangerous kick, perfect kick to Jetta.
That had to be so good.
Was his only option though, and he did pull the trigger.
It's a gutsy kick.
Malchevsky, who copped an earful from his coach at quarter time. Jetta over the top.
Still got loose players here, the Tigers. Even if the Swans get it in there, unless it's perfect, it's going to rebound.
Johnson to Smith. To half forward. Jude Bolton. Absolute gun professional of this Sydney Swans outfit. They have to start grinding some scores. Up it goes towards Seavey. Flies from behind. Off hands. The captain, McVeigh, needs a captain's goal. He won't get it because Foley was disciplined and got back. And that's the hallmark of the Tigers tonight so far. A word not really associated with them so much over recent times, and that is discipline.
He's everywhere, Nathan Foley. 17 possessions he's up to, but working deep in defence as well.
Hooley to himself, and now good opportunity for the get and go. Shut down though in the end, Rance.
Geez, Nahas has made the effort, he's worked, and he's been given the worst delivery imaginable.
And that's where he lets himself down, Alex Rance. And that would upset Damien Harding because he was clear for an eternity of time. I mean, he was 10-15 seconds on his own.
And the reason he had to kick it so pinpoint accurately was because he did delay his decision to release.
Maric, good contest. Takes it to the line. Ball in. 49 plays 9. A 5-0 opening term for the Tigers. You joined us late. It's been a different Richmond, the one we've seen all year. It's been the Richmond we've hoped to see all year. Edwards couldn't make something of it. Jetta, afterburners on. Tucked into the pocket. 60 from goal. Plenty of carry on the kick. Touched on the line.
Gee, that would have been some goal.
He's the number 1 possession winner right now, Jetta, with 10 possessions. The next best is Johnson on the half-back line with 7. McVeigh was 7 and Kennedy was 6. They have shut down their midfield motor completely here, the Tigers.
And for the Tigers, Foley's had 17, Cochin 13, Martin 13, Hooley 13, Greek 12, Deledio 11, and Maric and Morris 10 each. There you go, that's the tail of the tape as Matner turns it over, no 15. Cochin gets it in. Sweeping handball out to Jackson. Looks up the line. That's a good kick. Put it out in front of his teammate. Jake King breaks the tackle, gets through, caught, got the handball, got it in the back. Umpire said, dropping the ball.
Well, he had 4 or 5 goes, Johnson, at completing the tackle. He finally got it. He got rewarded. He's been under the pump, but he's been one of the Swans' best.
Johnson back to Shaw.
Clever.
Chips the kick out. Parker. Centre of the ground. Good kick. It stays in the air for a long time. Getting across was Nahas. Great pressure. O'Keefe under the hammer. Fantastic play by Cochin. He was in hard. Jack goes hard as well. Look at this. Great play, Conker. Tiger fans up on their toes. Look at this. Fantastic atmosphere here at the MCG. Cochin.
And the ball up in the middle. Dark fighting hard on hands and knees. Trying to shuffle it out. Jack likewise comes back to Jack. Caught by Cochin.
Canterbury's crook off the back of the pack there. Top one in the middle.
Watching a few of those loose ground balls, we're not seeing any players even thinking about sliding in, but there's a lot of them diving in head first.
Swans have lost 13 of their last 14 here at the G. Hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them. Matna, a little trip. 7 goals to 1 right now. Malcheski, spearing pass, hoping for Kennedy and got him.
Well, that's an A-grade kick, and what's better than an A-grade mark, Jason?
A+.
It was a very tough mark, and he grabbed it under enormous pressure.
Second favourite for the Brownlow medal, Josh Kennedy.
And the Tigers are minding him like his second favourite for the Brownlow medal. He's had very little space to move, but that is an awesome grab.
To the Boos, kicking to the punt road end. From the 50, drives it long. That's top shelf.
Everything he does correctly, doesn't he, Josh Kennedy? He makes good decisions, he puts himself in good positions, and he's added an extra string to his bow. He's become a midfielder that can go forward, take the mark and kick the goal. That's a contested mark 1 against 2. And a critical finish. I mean, against the run of play. To say they needed it's a massive understatement, but he's kicked that from the 50-metre arc.
Interesting to watch Mark see with these centre bounces. He's got a really unusual approach. Not sure if he's ever going for the football.
All right, let's watch number 1 for the Swans go for the ball here against Marich.
Well, against Miller, he should be able to dominate.
He does. Gets the tap. Going too tough for him in the back. Quickly to Martin. Martin kicks to the forward 50. Oh, good mark. Jackson. Open forward line. Cochin. There's a beautiful kick, and look at that. Lace out to the full forward. Salivating up here is Jason Dunstall. Memories come flooding back. Can he kick this goal for his 3rd?
I like the decision of Daniel Jackson too. Give it to the good ball users. Hand pass it off to Trent Cochin, who delivered the ball beautifully.
I mean, if there was such a thing in AFL football, that was world class.
Yeah.
And that is at the top end of skill exhibition.
Well thought out, well executed.
Yeah.
Do they get the reward? Jack Revon comes in and misses.
And I just want to talk about this forward setup of the Tigers today. No Vickery down there today, so they're using Delidio, Cochin and Martin at full forward, and I think that it's thrown the Swans' defence around a fair bit. They've used Ted Richards at full back on those smaller types, and they just look like they can't contain the marking power of the Tigers. They've taken 7 marks inside 50 already.
And the other thing it does, Kingy, I think it gives them better defensive protection when the ball does hit the deck.
Yeah, spot on.
Martin gets it out. Conker from 50. Gee, keeps that low and strong. And it's not touched, but it's a free to Richards. It won't count.
Premature celebration.
We're here.
Nice piece of work by Conker, nevertheless.
They're hanging on the Swans. It's a 34-point margin right now, which was the margin at quarter time. And we've played 19 minutes in this second term. And here it is again. Yeah, fair enough.
Just proof of the pudding. It doesn't matter what you use. If you push someone forward, it's a free kick.
Seavey up, front spot, can't mark. Cochin again. Short. King.
He should go back and have a shot unless he's got a clear target on. And look, he gets criticised at times for giving away free kicks, Jay King, but that last one, there's no doubt that Ted Richards would have touched the ball or marked the ball if he didn't somehow subtly work him underneath it.
Yeah, they've missed him, the Tigers. I reckon they would have got the 4 points down at Geelong had he been there.
Backs himself in. He fancies himself here, Jake King. It's across the face.
Oh, nearly a mark.
Still alive though, Richards. Plays on with run. Madner.
Seavey going to the bench. He's going to end up the target.
Trying to bounce it to him. That's on the full. It'll be a free kick. Swans. Kennedy to take it on the wing.
So 34 points the difference, but the Swans just starting to hold up a bit now. The Tigers have mucked up a couple of opportunities. Slight change in momentum here.
It's the first time, Ed, we've seen really a succession of a chain of disposals by the Swans that hasn't been intercepted by Tigers.
Malcheski up high, Reid couldn't hold it. Jack front and square, bullocked his way through. Which way will it bounce? Awkwardly, but well played by Grimes to slap it through for a rush behind.
Sam Reid going for what I reckon had to be close to mark of the year. But just like his game so far this season, just slightly off at the moment in his time.
He hasn't had a kick yet, Sam Reid, just the 4 hand passes. Ben McGlynn, another one, just the 1 kick, 1 disposal. Hasn't had any impact whatsoever as yet. Jesse White, just the 3.
Is that the 5-year deal bogey for Reid? Hasn't done him any favours yet. Long kick, past Marriage, King. No Pryor there. He backed into the tackle, but he didn't really have an opportunity to get rid of it. And the umpire will pull it up.
Well, they've gone finally man on man, the Swans.
Marriage and White down to tuck. Johnson with a slap down to Bird. Outside of the boot. Kicks forward in hope. Bounced unkindly for Everett. Still gathers though. 55 out. Short. McGlynn got it.
That's a great decision by Andreas Everett. There was a short bolt and he went over his head. He took the longer option, got it closer to goal. And just as you said, Ed, just a couple of signs that the Swans gaining a bit of momentum.
This is one of the men we were just talking about. He's only had the 1 kick for the day.
Hasn't been a great form. Hasn't kicked a goal in the last 2 games. Big moment for him and the Swans. And he still hasn't kicked a goal. On the line, touch through.
The lack of confidence in the kick play.
Yeah.
He just stabbed at it. Wasn't expecting to kick it.
3 rush behinds this quarter for the Swans. So they're getting it down, at least into their forward line. Could not buy a possession in the first term.
You've got Dennis Lane as substitute who could play a similar role.
That's an interesting decision, but they get away with it. It was a 1-on-2, correct, Deledio?
Yeah, a kick from Newman was an interesting choice, but they, as Jason said, might get out of jail. Deledio running in and out of trouble. Flicks it out wide. Turnover coming here, off hands. Swans starting to go now. Malcheski, handballs back. Marriage, though, gets it going again. Jackson, out wide he goes. Batchelor. Foley's been fantastic. To Martin, the big names. Look at that for a kick. Right up to the square it goes. Jay King just touched off hands.
I think Jay King's just got to work out that he's not 6'3". Don't get yourself set in the goal square because your man who's on you, Johnson, is always going to be able to come over the top.
You've got to love the way he believes in himself though, Jared.
I do. It's underpinned his career, but still got to look in the mirror sometimes and say, no, I'm going to be at the foot of the pack.
Ball to Rance. Knocks it down beautifully. Grimes. Marriage. Used his body well. D. Pops it up. Nahas is going to have to go.
They should have marked it.
Went straight through his hands. O'Keefe
Off
short.
the bench.
Just
Edwards.
off the bench, Edwards. Fist at his own possession. Over the head of Martin. Runs into Hanbury. Caught. Stripped of it. No free to Hanbury. Martin gets it again. Tied up. Ball up.
Gee, that was great from Martin there, Dwayne and boys. He just went 3 or 4 times just to give an effort there to make sure the Swans didn't get an easy exit. The handball to him wasn't perfect, but he's giving everything here for Richmond.
He's a great talent, we know, Kingy, and I think that this is the best way to use him. He hasn't got a big tank. Goal square, middle, goal square.
D, Morris, Edwards. At half-time, we'll show you Black Caviar, 21 straight, and the GWS celebration. What a day it's been for the expansion club in New South Wales. The other side from New South Wales, not so happy at the moment. Here's a chance for Robin Nahas around the outside of the boot. Sets it up. Was it a mark?
Oh,
yes. It's a Falcon, then a mark.
I want to have a look at this. I thought there were other hands on it.
Yeah, Matner thought there was too.
There's definitely a Falcon in there, Ed. You're right there.
I think the crowd may have had an early look.
Off the outside of the right boot. Oh, that's gone off the right hand of Marty Matner.
Yep.
Let's play on. But you get an opportunity here. Brad Miller, you must kick the goal.
So Miller for goal number 3 as the clock ticks down to 2 minutes from half-time.
Well, that's poor that there's 3-on-1 on the goal line. He hasn't made the distance from 40 metres, and Nahas is the only one.
Morris, good pressure. That's 2 Millers dropped short. He's kicked 2 and missed 2 opportunities. Matner now gets the handball out. Great pressure. Parker turns it over. Jake King rushing through. Parker's been cleaned up. I hope he hasn't done his knee there, boys. I think he's in a lot of trouble. As Hanbury kicks the ball up the line, it's coming straight back. Minute 30 to go. Good bounce for the Sydney Swans. It comes out to Jude Bolton. Bolton finds some space. Out to Jetta. Jetta now at centre wing. Kicks it long, but there's no one home for the Swans. Or it is a great kick. It comes inside. Now is a chance for Jack, who kicks to the goal square.
That is a brilliant kick.
Great play by Everett.
2 of the best kicks you'll see in that passage of play. The Jetta kick, it looked like he had nowhere to kick the ball, but he saw the red numbers back in the middle of the ground and he hooked it around the corner. He didn't have to hit a target. He had to get it in the vicinity of teammates, as we see Luke Parker up. He doesn't want to come off. And then the great weighted kick from Jack.
So Everett has kicked 20 goals, 19.
Oh, badness.
Misses from 15 metres out when they so badly needed a goal.
Let's have a look at the injury. Just gets driven into the ground. Not sure what the injury is, but he's up and about. He is looking to the left knee.
The left knee.
Well, that is a horrible miss from Ambrose Everett. One of the great kicks from Jack.
Bunching for the kick out. The ball bunched at centre forward. Now the spread.
To himself and into trouble. Out of trouble. Martin. Still dangerous. Hurley. And he was paid the mark. Just held it long enough.
He was lucky Cyril Rioli wasn't on the mark there.
They're taking risks, but it's paying off.
Fortune has favoured the Brave for the Tigers in this game. Hurley. Pumps it long and wide.
Numbers here, Sydney. They've got to take this one away.
And ball not clear. Parker couldn't pounce.
That's one of the few times that the Swans have been able to force Richmond to kick long down the line to a contest.
So 19 seconds on the clock. Still time for a score. Parker. Touch play on, said the umpire. It spills out the back now. A chance for the Sydney Swans. Great play coming out was Dees, who's had a great day so far. Kennedy over the top. 4 seconds. The kick from McLean. Will it be marked? No. Off hands. Countdown. The Swans are thwarted right on the goal line. And the Richmond Football Club, their supporters stand as one. They love what they're seeing here tonight. 7-9-51. Sydney 2-7-19. That's the score at half-time. The Tigers are up and going here at the MCG.
Well, they probably deserve to be a little bit further in front, the Tigers. They've done such outstanding work in the first half. They've maintained possession. They've had almost an extra 100 possessions in a half of footy. They've kicked the ball at 70%. It's worked very nicely for them, but they've got to do it for another half yet.
So goal kickers, Revolt 2, Miller 2, and singles to Martin, Marich and Conker for the Swans. All coming in that quarter, just the 2 goals, Hanbury and Kennedy. It's 51 plays, 19. Richmond in front at the MCG.
You know things are going well when a hand pass comes out to the ruckman and he snaps a goal over the shoulder. That's exactly what Big Ivan Maric did for the Richmond Football Club as they took a 32-point lead into the main break. It was an outstanding first half from the Tigers. A little bit wayward in front of goal, 7-9-51 to the Swans, 2-7-19. Miller and Revolt 2 apiece. Foley, Martin, Cochin, all the names that you want to see getting plenty of the ball for the Tigers doing just that. Not so for the Swans. They just struggled to get their hands on the footy in general. But Jared, it was the first quarter where the Tigers made their intentions known.
Yep.
They controlled the footy, and it was just an assault on the Swans. They were shell-shocked. They couldn't stop the flow. It was 5 goals to nothing.
Beating them at their own game. Stoppages and contested ball. Got the ball forward. Jack Rewald's been up and down a little bit this season. Started to come back into it last week. But Delidio, Martin and Cochin, to me, was the tactical move of the week. No Vickery. They've moved their talented players. Lucky to get a free kick there was Rewald. But the talented players are staying on the ground. With the extra rotations, coaches got a little bit clever, took their gun players off. Right now, we're seeing them back. And Martin in the goal square is a dangerous player. Foley, Tuck and Maric, I think, also just dominating. But so run off the half-back line, Jason. Grimes, Grigg, Hurley and Morris that have underpinned all of these opportunities. Miller got a couple in the first half, could have got 4. He seems so relaxed, though, he's forgetting to kick the ball hard enough.
You mentioned similarities to the Hawks. I don't know if that's where Damien Hardwick got it from. I suspect he was influenced by that, but they are playing a possession style of game. They've had 83 more touches in the first half. They had a lot more hand passes. They were prepared to run and carry the footy. They took risks with chip kicks, the contested possessions, uncontested possessions, you name it. It was all there in Richmond's favour.
And you look at the time in forward half. Late in the first quarter, it was 40 to 60 odd in favour of the Sydney Swans, despite the fact that Richmond had so much more dominance in possession. But now it has started to, I guess, reflect more the dominance of Richmond, and they're now in total control.
We know how important a player Lewis Jeddah is, and whilst he's had the most possessions for the Swans, they've been very keen, Morris, to actually make sure, you can see the number 32 Sydney jumper right there, and Morris, his opponent, staying goal side. Yeah. They had players behind the ball when they needed them. They made sure they were set up defensively well to stop those Swans goals over the top.
Yeah, they've done this particularly well. He's got so many goals, Jeddah, running into open space. They'll like to empty that out. But right now, I think they've got to go back to man-on-man football and man up that loose player of Richmond, because it's what they did against the Hawks down in Tassie. It's what they did against the Crows in the second quarter when they got themselves back in the game. And right now, the scoreboard said the game's over. The Swans have got to do something radical to get back in.
A great first half from the Tigers, but one thing we do know is the Swans don't give up. They'll try and work their way back into this contest. All that second half action is coming your way on the other side of the break.
Welcome back to the MCG for Richmond versus Sydney. A 32-point margin to the Tigers at this stage as we see the NAB Oz kickers doing their stuff in the middle of the MCG. Terrific work there. Unlucky not to be a goal, the young fella there. Very disappointed. What a great battle it's been, we must say. The Richmond Football Club have come to play today. We've got to look at a couple of different angles which we've noticed through the course of this game. The Richmond forward line's been a different setup today. It's been some smalls down deep. Vickery not playing today. We can just see here Jake King and Robin Nahas on this occasion. At times it's been Delidio, Martin and Cochin, probably with more effect than this occasion here, but they've caused all sorts of trouble down deep in that goal square area. You would think in this second half that they will have an influence, particularly Delidio and Martin, as we see the players taking their positions. Dwayne and Ed, and back upstairs to you as we go, but no injuries to report down here. Subs still in place. They are Ellis and Trent Orman-Allen.
Thanks, Kingy. David King with King Cam, camera 28, his own camera for today's game, which is great to see.
It has been an interesting setup, Jared, and we mentioned Vickery being out. It takes away a second ruckman, but what we have seen is there's no peace and quiet for Sydney defenders to run the ball out of defence. Because of that extra small, because of the different setup, there's a greater intensity about the defensive pressure of the Tigers.
And I think also in the forward line, if the midfield aren't putting pressure on Richmond, it makes the loose bloke absolutely not in play. We saw the vision from Kingy there. It went straight over the head of the loose player's head, and he became ineffective completely. So it'll be interesting to see how they go, the Swans, here on a tactical basis. It looks as if it is going to be man on man, and I think that's their only way home.
Well, they've made another change too, Sydney. They've sent Heath Grundy forward, which means Matten has gone on to Miller, and Johnson is now playing on Revolt. So there's a tactical move from John Longmire.
Well, to play man on man, the Swans are going to have to reduce their numbers in the forward line because the Tigers, almost as a matter of course, will play +1. At this stage, O'Keefe is by himself loose.
Grundy was recruited as a forward by the Swans initially. Big second half this in the context of the season for these two teams. Cochin takes off. Nahas held up. Back to Cochin. Short to Reebok.
How good's that kick off one step off your opposite peg? That is great stuff, Trent Cochin. They've got to get him to use the ball more often.
That last 15 seconds, you'd show that to every kid how to play the game. Shrug a tackle, take a strong mark.
It's also about give the ball to the blokes that can use it in.
Riewoldt has two. He's tucked into the gutter for the perfect start to the second half for the Tigers. They lead by 32. He opens up the angle and he never really gives it a run. If you've joined us late, the biggest lead the Tigers have had today, 41 points. And right now it stands at 33. And there's the example you were talking of.
2 goals, 3 now to Jack Reebok. The Swans go long to the outer side. Off hands, Jack. Great front and square play.
Smother.
Tremendous smother coming through. White slams it on the boot. Parker.
They've got numbers back. Just mopping everything up nicely, the Tigers.
D has been a very good offensive defender tonight. Grimes. The skipper. Newman.
Yeah, I worked it nicely there. Just held the ball, got the release player.
Nahas has opened up. Martin wants it short.
He's just taking a bit of time, which allows O'Keefe to get behind the ball, so you've got to hit that short, hit-up target.
Delidio, the 1-2 with Nahas. To the pocket they go. Easy pickings for the defenders on that occasion. Johnson slams it to the boundary line.
And I think I wound the clock back about 10 years with that substitute, Trent Dennis Lane, not Trent Orman Allen. I think that I got that one
He was having to get a run, though.
We let you go on that one, but, well, if you're a good Catholic boy, confessions taken there, mate. To our fathers for you. I think Tyson Lane got a mention earlier tonight as well, so we've been a bit of a retro call at times. And it's retro for the Tigers because it's been a long time since they've dominated a game on the big stage like this. Kennedy around the body for the Swans. They need to get something going now.
Well, this is perfect for Richmond. If the Swans allow Chris Newman to be the loose in defence, he'll set things up all day.
Has Shorts on, decides to go long and strong and kicks it up. From behind, Jack goes early and a good mark taken by Teddy Richards.
Yeah, great made by Richards, but you don't mind seeing Riewoldt fly. He is a jump and flying player, so he's got to start getting back to what he does best.
O'Keefe to the outer side to Jetta and ran under that a little. Morris, Grigg, they'll set it up again. Batchelor, and he pumps it. Cochin up. Good fist from Richards again. He left his man Riewoldt, and now Riewoldt's got it. Handed it to Miller, stolen by Matner through some traffic. McVeigh, Bolton, went for Grundy. Good fist from D. Hits the deck, Grimes, and the Tigers will reset. Hooley, Delidio, runs past McVeigh. Wobbles a short to Martin. He knows he's beyond his range. His mind's ticking over. Heads to the pocket, over Miller's head, and the mark to Matner.
They look confident, they look hungry, the Tigers. They don't look as if they're going to sit back on their laurels.
They're pressing right up and playing the game in their attacking half of the ground.
And as a result of that, the Swans try and clear. Good mark by Seaby over the top of Cochin.
No one to kick it to at the moment.
Yeah, that's why they keep stopping.
O'Keefe, Jack, try to conjure something. O'Keefe goes into the middle of the ground. Oh, turnovers coming here. Jack hard. Hooley holds him in, ball up. Now, guys, just on the sliding, we haven't seen one tonight. It's almost, talking about retro football, blokes are actually going in head first.
Well, I think they're just attacking the ball at this stage, and if they are going head first, they're not jumping in with their boots.
I think it's great. McVeigh, Seaby pushes it forward. Kennedy tries to crash through. Nahas juggling, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, shows the ball and kicks long. Beautiful play. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Iffa Miller up high did well to force the contest. At the fall of the ball at Smith to Richards of the Swans. Out wide, Morris judged the bounce. Jetta ran over the top of it. Morris has got it.
Dangerous.
Out wide, was a beautiful kick, Morris.
No, I missed him.
Just missed him, did he? Just missed. Grigg marked on the boundary line. Umpire set out in the full.
Do you get the feeling it's holding back the tide just at the moment?
Well, that's interesting, that, because I think one boundary umpire wasn't so sure, and the one that was further away paid it.
Smith to Bolton.
Right in the middle of a dozen seagulls. Somebody's dropped something on the ground they're very interested in.
Kennedy. Everett.
Now they've got Hanbury's just
10-50. Everett will be within range.
So Hanbury's just come off the bench and was streaming into the attacking 50, but won't be needed now.
Well, the biggest margin of this game was 41 points, the Tigers lead, and this kick to cut it back to 27.
The only problem is we saw Andreas Everett miss an absolute sitter in the second quarter at the other end.
Came on as the sub last week to replace Adam Goods. He's in this week instead of Goods. And he delivers on cue. 27 points the margin.
Just been watching Andreas Everett this season. It looks as if
Jared, just hang on for a second, because you called this. That bit of bread was thrown onto the ground from the top deck, and as a result of that, it was like a scene out of The Birds.
It was a Tiger fan just trying to put the Swans player off it.
Great play.
But he's just not far off it, I think, Andreas Everett. He's got to keep working. It's starting to turn around. It's been a slow, long arc, but he's got plenty of upside.
So for the first time tonight, back-to-back goals to the Sydney Swans. Their last goal was the 16-minute mark of the second quarter through Kennedy. Everett gets the next one. And they're just inching their way back into this game. Seaby, Kennedy again. Ball spills out to Bird. Bad bounce for Jetta. McVeigh did it well.
Look out.
Short, now Jetta goes. He kicks
Great
inside
kick.
50. It's a magnificent kick. Well called, Jared. And the mark has been taken by Grundy.
Yeah, well, you said he pushed Grundy forward, Jason. And, well, he's a natural. Most of the blokes who play in defence have played forward as juniors, but this was a good handball release and a really well-weighted kick.
He's only had the two possessions, Heath Grundy. Struggled at the other end, but now gets a chance to get on the scoreboard and help engineer this Sydney comeback.
Huge kick from 25 metres out. Didn't panic, head over the ball. Nice contact and a big goal for Sydney.
Well, it's a trademark of the Sydney Swans, and that is just honesty of effort. And you would expect, as we're seeing now, that they're going to have a fair crack. I haven't seen them lay down and die in the last decade, and you wouldn't expect to see it tonight. But succession of goals has given them a bit of a sniff. Let's see what the Tigers do in response. Not sure you should have highlighted that bread, Ed. I think we've got a new habit happening at the MCG.
From 41 points down to 21 points down. And they have the momentum, the Swans. They've kicked the last 3 goals of the game. Seaby in marriage. Josh Kennedy being held. It'll be a Sydney clearance.
Oh, Nathan Foley thought it was his.
To Bolton, and he pumps it. Everett goes, got hands on it. Newman waited for an option. Conker knocked it on. Jude Bolton collects. Bangs it back in hope. The chaos ball. Marriage was waiting for it. Rance, Cooley, ran into a wall. Handball in the Martin direction. Kennedy starting to have an influence. Got his arms free. To Bolton. Wobbles one to attacking 50. Rance was waiting for it. Kick, claw though. Turnover. Hanbury.
Everybody is susceptible to pressure, and somehow the Swans have screwed the pressure lever up, and it's now back on the Tigers.
Ivan Maric saves the day, but this kick important. The crowd can sense it. Everyone can sense it. This is Sydney's moment. Can they play their way back into it? They're 21 points down as it stands. Halfway through this third term. Conker called to go. Dangerous kick straight down the middle. Kennedy floats in and a pluck from Tuck.
That's a massive contested mark, Shane Tuck.
Sensational mark by Tuck, but you can just feel the tension around the MCG at the moment. Well, Conker leaves it up there a long time. Turnover, Kennedy getting amongst it now.
7th possession this quarter, Ed.
The Swans are lifting. The kick from O'Keefe stayed a long time. Bolton, handballs inside. McLean's turned it over. Edwards kicks forward. 1-on-1 inside 50. Out they come. Delidio tries to pat it forward. Getting back, working well was O'Keefe to Richards. Out he comes. The mark taken by Parker at half-back.
And all of a sudden, the Swans are getting more numbers around the contest.
Parker kicks up the line. Seaby has to go hard here. Off the hands of the pack, or was it White? It was White. We'll have a throw in.
Parker's back on the field at the moment, Ed. He's got a left knee strapped heavily. I think that he's under some duress out here. I wouldn't be surprised if this was his last 5-minute burst to see whether he can offer something before the substitute takes place.
So Dennis Lane, the substitute. David King reporting, boundary side. That's Parker kicking around the body up towards the forward 50. Here's a chance now. McVeigh, front and square. Second effort, third effort required. He goes off the ground, did it beautifully. Grundy, free kick. Rance. Now Rance has turned it over a few times, so an important kick for him. Stayed in the air a long time again. Foley. And the Tigers get out through the captain, Chris Newman.
Reed's playing one boot on, one boot off at the moment for the Swans, so they're a man down as Conker takes off to the open side. Wide ball, Grimes. And he says, let's hold it on, boys. Let's just hang in there. There he is. He's got the other boot on now, Reed. The trainer came out and gave it to him. Rance, so this kick becomes important. D. Hurley. And it opens up through the middle. Greg. Edwards, Greg. They've worked at the half forward. Long bang. Hoping for Martin. Dumped away from him. Hits the deck. Riewoldt stayed down front and square. Shuffled it out to Nahas. Gets a foot on it. Travelled 8 metres. Greg. Twist. Turn. Gone. Didn't look like a legal handball. Umpire said it was. And now holding the ball. I think he waited to see if it was advantage and paid the evener upper.
Well, their intensity's lifted, Sydney, and all of a sudden Richmond aren't getting the easy possessions.
Hooley!
Acrobatic.
Unbelievable, he's hurt himself. I think he landed on the point of the shoulder. David King will keep an eye on that. Almost the intercept mark. Suddenly the ball's at half forward for the Sydney Swans. Wow, this game is in the balance now. The Tigers lead by 21 points. They've dominated this game. Hooley got through, almost held it long enough. Just crunched himself on the shoulder. Looks like he's okay. Throw in. Grigg from a standing start. Kicks it. It's a 2-on-1. Riewoldt comes out. Good play by Richards. Gets it back. Nahas has been lively. Hooley, Jackson.
She's the pressure from Sydney.
He won't get past Bolton. That was dropping the ball surely. Umpire said play on. Delidio now goes forward. Nice kick. Miller's marked it. Too far out to score. He's got Martin in the pocket. He's going to have to beat two. He goes forward. Nearly does it. Yes, he does, says the umpire.
I think Jetta grabbed him in midair then. And
Wasn't a great play, was it?
He's a little bit shaken up by that fall, I think. Got dragged off balance. But all of a sudden it's Sydney now that are getting numbers behind the ball. Have a look at Lewis Jetta here. Takes his eyes off the footy, drags the arm, and that forces him to land pretty heavily.
Just haven't had the perfect matchup down back for the smaller forward that we talked about at half-time. Martin, Delidio or Cochin at full forward. It's had some impact for the Tigers today.
So a huge kick for the Tigers. 21 points up. Martin, their superstar, comes in.
What's kick-started the Swans have been two blokes. They put Bolton into the middle and Kennedy started to get his hands on the ball. He's had it 7 times. And Jude Bolton's had it 8 times in this quarter.
A deafening roar ringing around the MCG right now. Tiger fans have been in this from the outset. Jack.
And these uncontested possessions weren't available to Sydney in the first half.
The outer side to Reed, and he's beaten again. He's coming off a 4-possession first half, is Reed. And that's after a 6-possession game total last week. He's way out of form. Well played, Cochin. Perfect pass to Martin. Went for the chest mark and spilled it. Matner in game 100 for the Swans, trying to inspire them. Jetta, Jack, Shaw, White, not the usual runner. Malcheski, Ken Rooster long ball, pops the pass, Paulie, out wide. Grundy made it his, got his arms free. Bolton to Hanbury. Shaw in the pocket, he's got 3 to beat, can't beat them all. Newman takes the saving mark for the Tigers, and they peel to the open side.
And that's the sort of mark you want to see the skipper. Don't leave it for anyone else.
It's open
the
now.
Definitive, and away they go. Hooley's opened them right up. It comes out to Jake King. There's another kick further up if he can get it there, and he does. Now the Tigers are closing on the goal. Jake King's got it. Nahas's kick was a beauty. Jack wants it in the pocket. King will go long to the goal square. It's set up. Here's the big moment for the Tigers. Jack flies early, off hands. Delidio misses it across the goal face.
No defensive pressure now. Swans with numbers to run it out.
Johnson, O'Keefe, they get to the corridor. Malcheski, up they go again. Hanbury, dangerous, looks up, has a lead at centre-half forward. He goes with it, and it's a beauty too. Off hands, couldn't hold the mark. Picked up by Tuck, finally gets the handball working. Concedes some ground, and the Tigers are able to just hold their composure as Dees has it at centre-half back.
Game being played at fever pitch right now. Jackson, it sits on him. Seavey makes the contest, but he falls, hits the deck. Good attack from Matner, half held, no free. Malcheski got it out, threw it out. Brilliant tackle, and we'll get a ball up on the wing.
Well, that was just a classic contest. I think prior to this week, would have seen maybe one of those two guys go to ground with boots. You saw two blokes keep their feet, make a genuine contest at the ball.
Marich and Seavey. Marich straight down, but Bird read it to Malcheski, the half forward. Reed finally gets a break.
Both the Tigers need to get back into it. Is Foley, 18 in the first half, has touched it just once in this term.
His kick horrendous. Shaw got a toe on it. Jude Bolton bangs it, goal square. Beats the pack. Everett feeds back. Danger for Grimes. Everett's got a couple to beat. Newman tried to knock it through. Pack forms 1 metre out. Knocked it out to Morris. To Newman. Open side, and they're away again. In some space. Delidio. Perfect pass. Edwards, no one to go too long. Needs to hold it up for a second. Now he sees the runner. Delidio. Over the top with his kick to Marich. One hand. Gets and goes. Inside 50 to Rewald. Richards in front. Rewald nudged him out. Gathers. Pocket. Richards got in. Could be ball. Umpire says play on. Malcheski. It's lifted another gear. Delidio. Sent for a ball. Greg.
Boy, there is a bit of suspense in the air at the moment. The Tiger supporters on the edge of their seat because Sydney are coming, but they're still managing to create some opportunities.
Just got a hand on it there, Jack. Might have been a bit lucky.
They need a settler.
He's kicked 4-1 this year. Against the run of play, that could be priceless.
Well, it's a great transition round the Great Southern side of the ground. Finishing up with this little contest here. And just good pressure again from the Tigers onto Malcheski. It was a pretty average kick, not the kick of a senior player. And finished up with the bloke having his best year ever.
Nice helicopter.
We played just over 18 minutes in this third term. The Tigers' last goal coming at the 9-minute mark of the second quarter. It's been a long time. Basically 39 minutes of football for the Tigers to get the goal. They're back out to a 27-point lead. Game still in the balance. Morris, hard as you like. Great play by the father-son. Kevin would love that.
There's a good jump in the centre clearance from Brad Miller. The runner's just gone out to him, asking him to push into the fence.
Look at this again from Morris. Ball up. Jackson tries to smother. Knocked out by Conker. Goes and gets his own ball. Good play. Flicks the handball out. Cochin. They don't argue. Then around the body. Kicks it to a contest again. Every time Cochin uses the ball beautifully. Nahas's tackle was a ripper. Smith takes it to the boundary line. Great football all round.
I'll tell you a player for the Tigers that's really gone out of the game is Nathan Foley. Now, he had 17 possessions at the 5-minute mark of the second term. He's now on 19.
Short throw in. Seavey read it front spot to Bolton. Trent Dennis Lane now on as the sub for the Swans. Had his first touch. Kennedy to McGlynn. Tried to burn them off. Handball a little wobbly, but it finds Kennedy. Got his arms free. Jack to the goal square, but there's no one there. Grundy tries to backtrack, saving Mark Newman, and he plays onto the open side again. Grimes.
He's got the nice release here now.
So Hurley, if it sits, can go. He goes, but Jetta's pursuing. Bad man to take on, drag him down, gone. That is sensational.
Yep. That's the sort of stuff that underpins comeback from behind wins. Got a lot of work to do to get to that level, but that is an awesome chase.
Short passes to Bird quickly. And Bird could roost it. He's outside 50. And he hits the square. Seaby's there. Can't mark. McVeigh went for the toe off the deck but couldn't get near it. Claims he was held. It's a behind and everybody takes a breath.
We did say, boys, that Luke Parker was the player that was under sufferance out there with a left knee issue. He's been substituted out of the game, and as we said, Trent Dennis-Lane is into the game. He has modelled his game we hear on Trent Allen over recent couple of years, but he's an impact player who can kick a goal. We know that.
Out of the full.
These are the mistakes you make under pressure.
Self-inflicted pressure on that occasion.
He backed himself into a corner.
Nice little kick coming out from Dennis Lane. The mark taken by McGlynn. Very quiet early. He's worked his way back into the game. Ben McGlynn. 87 goals, 73 in his career at Hawthorn and the Swans. Huge kick to just turn the screws on the Tigers as we approach three-quarter time. He kicks, he turns, he delivers. The Swans are back in it.
It's a great game of footy at the moment. The Swans have started to really put some scoreboard pressure on the Tigers, and that seeded out, Jason. You wouldn't have had it too many times in your career playing with one of the powerhouses, but it is such a skeleton in every club's closet. It is trying to go from the bottom half to compete against the top half, and right now the Swans are under the pump. They still think they can win. The question is, do the Tigers believe that they're going to win?
It's the closest the Swans have been since the opening term. If you weren't with us from the outset, the Tigers did lead by 41. They now lead by just 20. Seaby in marriage. Tuck. Superb tackle. McGlynn tapped away from him. Conker kicks it off the deck. Smith playing well. Nahas, we dropped him into the deck.
Boy.
Oh, geez, hurt too. He's going to have to pick the grass from his teeth. Mackner with a brilliant tackle. And the game lifts another gear.
A couple of heavy tackles there.
Good tough play by Smith.
Gee, that's dangerous.
In the end, I think he drops him onto his own thigh. You see, he's kind of got the leg underneath him, which might protect the head hitting the deck.
Certainly no intention from Nahas to do damage. He just tackled what was there. We'll have a ball up.
It's a big moment in this season for the Tigers right here. We've heard for years they want to play finals footy. Well, right now, these are the sort of games in 40 minutes of footy that determines whether you're going to play finals footy.
With 2.5 minutes left as Cochin kicks forward off hands. Martin couldn't quite glove it. Nahas, busy, did well, got it out the rewind! Hit the post for the second time! And that is 4 posters for the night now for the Tigers. Rewald has kicked, Jason's kicked 2 goals, 4.
Don't want to sound like a broken record, but against good sides, if you don't take your opportunities, it comes back to haunt you.
Well, coming into this round, this was 3rd against 12th on the ladder. The Swans started the season with 5 wins in a row. They've been the hotter of the 2 teams all year. O'Keefe, senior player, standing up now for the Swans. Trent Dennis-Lane, the fresh sub in his first game for 2012. Canterbury.
They're just picking gaps in Richmond's zone defence now.
The Tigers aren't working anywhere near as hard.
Puts it to the square. Tigers have the numbers there. It beats them all and rolls off some fingertips.
Tigers still working hard when they've got the footy. It's when they haven't got the footy, it's just getting back in the transition phase just to add some pressure or just to block up a space that's been the difference between the Tigers this quarter in the first half.
The skipper takes the responsibility for the kick out. The second kick has to be just as good.
And there's no movement, so that the work rate of the first half's taken its toll on the Tigers.
Greg's got it called to play on even more pressure. So he kicks it as long and as strong as he can, but it's coming back, or is it? No, off hands. Martin got it. Richards just couldn't quite hold it. Chips it forward. The charge is on. Nahas for the Tigers. Hassling, pushing, shoving. Boundary line there, throw in. And that is a relief for the Tigers. With 1:06 on the clock, still plenty of time for a score. But I tell you what, would the nerves be jangling for Richmond supporters if Sydney get one more before the bell at three-quarter time. From the throw-in, Jackson goes hard at it. Good play, Foley, Jackson. Delidio. Around the body, need a bit of luck, they're not going to get it. Matner. Here they go. They spread the Sydney Swans. Jack with 45 on the clock. O'Keefe. Out wide. Hanbury. Next kick important. It's going long, and there he is, Dennis Lane, the fresh legs, inside 50, it's coming. Kennedy's got it. Can you believe it? Under 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Look at Damien Hardwick, the anguish on his face.
He'd be frustrated with Stephen D out the far side. He got sucked up under the ball and allowed Trent Dennis Lane to get out the back, take an uncontested mark and then turn and find Josh Kennedy.
Swans, from being 41 points down, have kicked 4 of the last 5 goals of the game. Right on the buzzer of three-quarter time. In comes Josh Kennedy. He kicks. And he goes. Can you believe it at the MCG? The Tiger fans, they're gone quiet. Look at that. They can't believe what they're seeing. From being 41 points up at three-quarter time, they lead by just 14. And the Swans have grinded their way back into this game. The Tigers have just, run themselves to a standstill with 30 minutes of football to come. Oh, what a game we've got on our hands. Richmond, 8-11-59. Sydney, 6-9-45. The Swans have kicked 5 of the last 6 goals of the game to be back in business at the MCG. The ecstasy and the agony of being a Tiger supporter. We're seeing it all tonight here at the MCG. 5 first-quarter goals. They've hit the post 4 times. The Tiger Army up and about. And then, as you'd expect, from a battle-worn team like the Sydney Swans, they've come back and come back hard. It's 14 points of difference at three-quarter time. David King is boundary side. David, we've seen the Tiger Army go from jumping up and down to sitting with their hands on their heads.
Yeah, you can see the worry in the crowd now where they're not as buoyant as they were in the first term. I think Sydney can win this game. They need a few things to go their way, there's no doubt. In that third term, they showed plenty of composure, worked their way through the Richmond loose man very well. They've been well served at contested possession through that man there, Kennedy, and Bird with 13 contested possessions for Kennedy. 8 clearances between those two. But they need a lift from Hanbury, Jack and McVeigh in the midfield to ensure that they get plenty of opportunity. They had a 4-goal term in that quarter. And I'll tell you what, if they have another 4-goal quarter here, the game just might be theirs. What are your thoughts, Jared?
Well, I think Jude Bolton got them right back into that match. But for mine, the Tigers have talked about playing finals footy a lot over the last few years. If they want to play finals footy, Rewald, Delidio, Cotchin, Martin, they're A-grade players, they're real guns. This is the season right here and now, the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, it depends what the Tigers got left in the tank. Have they got the run to stop Sydney getting the uncontested possessions that we saw in that third quarter and the ability to chip the ball going forward and pick apart the zone defence?
Foley's one, Jason. After you said about his stats, I've watched him not working hard enough. Right,
let's go. The Tigers lead by 14 points. Dwayne Russell.
Foley with the clearance. Inside 50 immediately, they travel. Tie-up tackle, ball up. Tigers opened up a 41-point lead. It's been whittled back to 14. It's the closest the Swans have been since the 15-minute mark of the opening term. Bolton, gang tackle, going nowhere.
Well, we saw Nahas have a decent third term for the Tigers with 9 possessions. He's only got 14 for the game. He's got to have a big last term here. He's got to hit the scoreboard.
Marich and Seaby ducked his head there, Foley. Didn't get the break. Jetta through some traffic nicely. Weaves some magic with Loston. Nahas to tuck from the pocket. Centering kick. Good spot. Miller in the middle. Couldn't mark it. Malcheski has the line. Ooh, taken out. A little overzealous from young Jake King.
It's not like Jake to be a bit overzealous.
Cool heads required, though.
Got to lock it in now, the Tigers. That's what was a trade of their first half.
Cochin slams it on the boot. Miller dragged off the ball. Kennedy smothered. He's been great though, Kennedy, after having his colours lowered in the first quarter. He has been one of the catalysts for the comeback. McGlynn went well, just dropped his knees, got the high tackle.
Well, he ducked straight away, didn't he?
Yep. Up the line he goes.
Now these are the kicks and the passes that Sydney weren't getting away with in the first half because the defensive intensity from Richmond was too good, but it's dropped off.
Seabee presented beautifully, then chips the kick to Jack.
And one of the reasons that's happened, Jason, is now they've got the loose man with Newman. There's not enough numbers down there for forward pressure. They kicked 4 goals so far in this game from forcing forward 50 turnovers.
Yeah, that's a shocking kick.
Jeddah's kick was turned over. Grimes took the mark.
He did the hard work to get there, Lewis Jeddah, and then turned it over.
Which was disappointing. I've just been amazed at his game. He's such an improved player, Jeddah.
D.
Hooley's run hard for him.
Sits it on Hurley a bit.
Yeah.
McGlynn right with him, and almost a free kick to McGlynn. Got one to the ear. King. Greg. Hurley. Oh, he spent that before it earned it. Malcheski worried him out of it. King tries to mop up that little mess.
Needed to keep his feet.
O'Keefe, Malcheski, straight through Greg, and it works. Everett looks up, and he's got McGlynn who can run. And they run for him. Jeddah has the speed, but no space to use it. To Jack.
Great tackle.
Batchelor wrapped him up.
What a brilliant tackle that is. 1-on-1.
Great play by Batchelor. Back he goes to Rance. On defensive 50, Greg. Gave him a short, decided to go long up the line. Marriage from behind. Umpires picked the free kick out.
That's against Shane Tuck, who put the hands on the shoulders going for the big mark.
Went too early, so Bird's got it. Oh, this first goal, so vital. Long, Reed from behind, was knocked out of the play. Good mark again, Grimes. Short kick to Tuck.
Slow footy out of defence in the second half from Richmond. It was quick footy in the first half.
Tuck decides this time he's just going to go long and strong. Up to the wing position it goes, off hands. Conker looks for Cochin. Cochin releases his teammate, Jackson, into the centre of the ground. Good play. Morris went, he's gone. Just got the hands away, which was good, but the turnover is complete. The kick comes out from Johnson now, up to centre half forward. Bouncing ball. Good play by Rance. Needs to get rid of it and quickly. Just gets a toe poke on it. Held his composure. Was great play, and Miller's got it in the centre of the MCG.
Rewalt wants it long.
Yeah, but they were better than this. They didn't just bomb it in the first half. This is what Sydney want them to do.
King almost held. Went for the mark. Points the deck. Jackson. Nahas left it behind. Deledio to Greg on the left. Goes for goal from 40. Dazzling. Back out to a 20-point lead.
Well, the goal was so vital. And Jackson, I think, has had a pretty good 4 or 5 minutes. With a couple of important possessions, gets it, but Greg just pushing off, does not have a man, Greg. And he enjoys the latitude he is given. But with that left foot, he's a dangerous player. And he gets the first one.
So Sean Grigg steps out to have a bit of a rest. He's kicked the Tigers 2 goals since half-time. It was Grigg who kicked the big 40-metre goal at the 18-minute mark of the third quarter to stem the flow of goals for the Swans, and he's done it again at the 4.5-minute mark. They lead by 20, but the Swans aren't done yet. Off the hands of the pack, going in hard, there was Grundy. Got the ball working. Bolton's handball was intercepted. Now it's Newman at half-back. Keeps his composure, chips up the line, great play, and great running from Grimes, who ran from full-back basically to the wing to take that mark.
Yeah, and that Chris Newman kick is what they did in the first half. They hit targets, and there's a short pass that he should have honoured, which was Reece Conker, I think. That's a good hit there.
That's a great kick.
They didn't just bomb the ball long to contests.
Second lead was good. Edwards. Another chip forward. Strong mark. Jackson.
You've got to remember what sort of play it was that got them that 40-point lead in the first place.
Jackson goes long. Jack Rewell edged his opponent out. Umpires paid the mark.
Just a subtle little nudge that time, Jared.
I was actually watching the bench and just wondering when the substitute will be affected. Young Ellis is an elite runner, and I think it's run that will help the Tigers now.
This is the kick for the match, you'd think. Jack Rewell from point-blank range. The Tiger Army go to their feet. 2 in a row to the Tigers. They lead by 26 points.
There's 3 goals, 4 for the match, 7 kicks. He's had 7 scoring shots. Not as accurate as he would like to be, but a critically important one. He just gives a little nudge, uses the hips. That was a good one. I don't think you're going to get pinged for that too often. Just a little lean on Ted Richards to work him under the footy.
Well, a challenge now for the Swans.
A ton of time left in this. They've already come from 41 down. 26 points it stands right now. Koch in the clearance to half forward. King, McVeigh with the fist. Jack with the crumb. Still taking it on. They still believe. White. McVeigh. And he wobbles one forward. Tough one for Trent Dennis-Lane. Knocked away from him, but he lays a tackle on Rance. Tuck gets the crumb. Handball smothered by Everett. He lays a tackle. Comes out to Edwards. To Marriage. Got his arms free. Straight down the middle, Foley. With some toe. Option is Rewald. In his direction. Got it! Go! Richards, he's paid it!
Yeah, clean grab. Clean grab. Got no issue with that. Nathan Foley's a player we've spoken about. You want your good players, your class players getting the ball at critical times. He saw the space in front. He ran and carried the footy. And he just waited for something to open up. He had to look at all different options. That's an interesting one in slow motion, isn't it? Because he didn't quite have the clean grab. It was just out of his fingertips.
Yep.
In hindsight, you'd call that play on.
It's kicked 3 goals, 4. Everyone holds their breath. And that could get the party started.
Well, you can understand why the umpire painted, because in real time it looked like he took the one grab and then the ball was punched out of his hands. And if you take that one controlling grab, that's enough.
Yeah,
but when you look at it on the slow motion replay, as we see the great work, Foley looked at all the options. He looked at all parts of the ground until he got the kick he wanted. And it looked like a one grab mark, but that ball was not controlled by Jack Rewell.
Easy with the slow-mo.
Oh, interchange infringement.
Okay, right, we've got an interchange infringement here, and it's going to go up for the Swans.
It's a goal. It's a goal to Sydney Swans. Should be a goal to Sydney Swans. A 50-metre penalty from the centre bounce. Boy, you wouldn't want that to influence the game, would you?
Wow. Just when the Tigers thought maybe it was time to relax.
And this is why I don't like the penalty for this rule. Unless there's 19 out on the ground actually playing.
Well, I think there was.
Someone that's... Was there, Kingy?
Well, I think Ellis just charged on the ground. It's a bad way to start your game as a substitute coming on.
It is a pretty simple thing to do, Justin. I mean, you shouldn't get it wrong.
No, but something like that shouldn't cost you a shot for goal either. Should be a fine.
Listen to the Tiger fans. Oh, he's munged it, but I think he's kicked the goal, and he has.
Oh, you believe that?
The Tiger fans thought it was a point for all but the last 2 spins of the ball. Can you believe it? Seaby's got it from the interchange infringement. Look at our bench. Look at our bench cameras here. One on, one off. Ellis waiting to get his first run, and he's on, and no one's come off.
Oh boy.
Tyrone Vickery's dad there on the bench. And the flag comes out and the Swans get back in it with 13 minutes and 18 seconds on the clock. My goodness.
David King's camera 28 right on the spot. 26 points the margin. And the game is at fever pitch again. Seaby, after kicking the goal in the ruck, and he palms it down beautifully. Kennedy couldn't get the clearance away. Bolton likewise. Delio wraps him up. He's got a little bit of ball in there. Ball up.
Just got a text from a bloke called Einstein, I think Albert Einstein, who thinks that Mark Seaby's kick defied physics.
Who did he play for, Einstein, Joe?
He was a South Australian State of Origin player for a while.
I've got one from another South
well.
Australian State of Origin bloke called Stephen Coonahan who said, standard procedure.
Grants, a wobbly one. They can smell some blood here, the Swans.
That's got to be
They're
ball.
leading, but they're without the momentum right now, the Tigers holding the ball. Edwards, 26 points the margin. Ton of time left.
They've got themselves in a winning position. It would be an incredibly devastating loss if they weren't to get themselves over the line. They've got to remember, you don't hold on for 12 minutes. You've got to kick a couple of goals to win the match.
Hooley, half back.
To do that, they've got to keep controlling the football like they did in the first half.
Greg.
Well, for mine, they got their work rate back, and they've had it from the start of this last quarter. And if they just continue to work, it's hard to see them giving up a 26-point lead.
49 disposals to 22. Richmond's favour this quarter. Jared, the stats backing up your assertion.
And right now they've just got to play smart footy.
He hasn't seen the player straight ahead of him.
Morris.
And Andres Everett, he just didn't work hard enough. There was an intercept spoil there. He had to come, he had to go hard, and he missed an opportunity.
Marriage to a huge cheer from the Tiger faithful to Nahas.
They've done this well, haven't they? They've eaten a fair bit of time off the clock and held possession.
Got to keep hitting targets. He's got Deledio in space.
Pops it in his direction.
That's
it's a free.
Yep.
Shaw ran into him, took his eyes off the ball, and the game could be in the hands of Brett Deledio.
Well, we saw it in his hands against West Coast, didn't we? He had a kick that could have won them the game, and unfortunately he didn't do it. But this was good vision from Robin Nahas. He spotted Deledio in space. And
I'm sure what Rushaw was doing.
I don't know what he was doing either.
And that was a marking opportunity. Just sit on his hip and away you go.
Super player, Brett Deledio, but these are the goals he has to kick.
Seasons turn on games like this. Richmond coming off a win last week. They need 2 in a row, and he can't deliver the goods.
Gee, that's a disappointing kick. He knows what it means.
27 points though. The Swans would need to kick 5 goals in the last 10 minutes. They've kicked 7 for the game.
Well, he could go back and give this a mighty roost, and I reckon that's what he's got in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack Revolt might want it down there quick, but he is an exceptionally long kick of the footy. Eat up a bit of time, and if he kicks the goal, absolutely brilliant.
This to close the deal for the Tigers. Brett Deledio from 55 metres out.
Oh.
He kicks, he connects, he puts it through the middle. The Tigers are home.
That's a ridiculous kick in the footy, isn't it? That's hit the fence on the boot.
Well,
it was a 60-metre drop punt.
Makes a mockery of his previous attempt, and I think there was a little monkey starting to grow into a gorilla on his shoulder, and I think he might have just put him back in the trees.
Bang.
Because when they needed one just to put in one of the final nails, he hammered it home.
Not a lot of emotion there from Justin Levitt's assistant coach
all
for the
business
Tigers.
If I look at the scoreboard, and right now it says only 15 minutes gone. Jack with the clearance. Wobbler inside 50. Grimes attacks it, left it behind. D over it. Makes out he wants to get it out. Didn't really want to. Everett smothers the handball. Shrugs a tackle. Floats it to full forward. There's no one home. Rance gets back. And that was clever enough. Clever enough. Morris calls for Khan.
Throw in. Swans must get a goal here to have any chance at all. The Tigers now need to just be disciplined. Hard at the ball. Hanbury gets it out. Jack with the left foot. High up and under. To the pocket it goes. Well played by Rance. Twice in a row he knocks it over the line. He's been Reed's master tonight.
He's improved dramatically as a key defender, Alex Rance. His one-on-one works really, really good against the best forwards. He just has to make better decisions and use the footy a bit better.
Damien Hardwick has coached beautifully. The preparation was great. The execution has been fantastic for the Tigers. And that man has been a star, Dylan Grimes, as he takes it through for another rush behind. 7 rush behinds for the Swans for the night.
I think the Swans have to give up on the loose man behind the ball now. At the moment, it's Mattner or O'Keefe.
Big leap from White.
Step ladder.
McVeigh.
He actually took a run up his back. I think he took a step once he got on there.
Takes on the man on the mark. And Hanbury inside 50 takes the mark.
Well, you've got to just wonder why a player would... Oh, look at this. He goes up and then he just steps up there. Nearly back on the ground when he marks it. Why overcommit on the mark when a player's 65, 70 metres out from goal?
Daniel Hanbury to keep them with a mathematical chance. From 40, sprays it. And with every passing second, the Tigers are 1 second closer to a season-resurrecting victory over one of the AFL's big guns.
31 points. Hard to see the Swans coming back from here. They've kicked 7-11 for the night. They'll need to kick 6 to win it in the last 8 minutes. But just as much is the attention now on the Tigers to see how they can finish off this game. Mattner, 65 out, kicks to the hot spot. It's a beautiful kick. Getting across there was Dennis Lane off hands. There he is again. Grimes has been fantastic. The handball comes out. Now it's Martin who puts down the pedal and away he goes. Finds some space. Out to Foley. Foley looks up on the left boot. Here comes Jackie Boy! They did everything bar mark it. 2 grabs and a kick. Play on. Shaw back into trouble. He's gone almost. Just got a toe poke on it. Nahas shoved in the back. Good play by Johnson. Dribbles it to the boundary line. Throw in.
He was about to get pinged for holding the ball, Shaw, but that desperate lunge with the boot that just towed the ball away as it was going to ground saved him.
Jack Brevold. Wow. He's worth the price of the admission ticket just to watch him. McVeigh off the top of the pack. Last roll of dice for the Swans.
McLean sees the runner, Trent Dennis Lane. He's got the toe because he's fresh, but the ball was unkind to him. Rance on the rebound, and they could nail this coffin shot right now. Edwards over the top to Grigg. Had a sensational season, and he's the man with a hammer. Coffin shot. Tigers will win.
He's become an important goal kicker for them, Sean Grigg.
Well, he just gets so much latitude off that half-back line. He gets a lot of latitude because he works so hard, so we should take nothing away from him. He doesn't just get given the ball. He runs hard into space. There he is again, just running really hard. His opponent's about 25 metres behind him, or at least whoever was chasing him. But so often he is allowed to become the loose man, and he is just too dangerous.
What a night for Damien Hardwick. He's got the Tigers back in contention. Look at the next 4, they're beauties too. Bombers here next week. Well, you won't get a cigarette paper in between the customers. It'll be a full house. Hawthorn at the MCG, St Kilda and Fremantle. Wow. 3 of the next 4 here at the home of football, the MCG. And full marks to the Tiger defence. Getting back in numbers. Grigg kicked the goal, but it really started by the hard running from the Richmond full-back line. They got back behind the ball. Gave Dennis Lane no chance in a 2-on-1 contest. Kennedy slaps it forward, up towards full forward, off the hands of the pack. Reed goes for the ball, but it's picked up again by Dees. Did it well. Out to Rance. And Hooley says, I'll just concede the behind and reload.
We just saw Josh Kennedy have a quick kick there. That's his 20th possession. He's the only Sydney player to get to 20. 50-metre penalty.
50-metre penalty.
There are 10 Richmond players with 20 or more possessions.
Might have done a little Hamish tweak there, Masha Hooley.
Yeah, a couple of numbers, Jason, this quarter. It's 40 possessions, Sydney to 70 to Richmond. They have really just continued to work hard. They rested up a bit last quarter, and the Swans just were so energetic. The other number I think that's of real concern to the Swans is before the match has said that in the last 8 games they'd averaged 73 points here. That's not a winning score most of the time. At the moment, just 54 points. Now, MCG is a real problem for the Swans for whatever reason in recent times.
Yes, it'll be 14 losses from their past 15 games here at the MCG for the Sydney Swans. This is their one and only game here this year, unless, of course, they play finals here. But this is their only home and away season game here. Luckily, perhaps. Jackson. 21 minutes gone. Final term. It's been an outstanding Richmond team to watch from the outset. It was a 5-0 first term that set it up. Turnover, McVeigh. Swans have been on the ropes since the opening minute. Grundy. Good pluck. And he takes off. Time is of the essence, he knows that. Hurley comes from 4 deep. Tuck mops up that little mess. Rewald's up on the wing. Johnson, he's had a good game, Johnson. Been one of their best. Outmarks him on the wing.
Too worried about man-on-man bodywork, Jack Rewald, instead of attacking the footy.
Johnson short. Melcheski. O'Keefe. Tigers not worried about this little chip kicking around. It's eating the clock down. 5 minutes left. Dennis Lane marks. He'll have to kick at 52 metres. So inside 5 minutes left on the clock. What a night it's been for the Tigers. They blitzed the Swans with 5 goals in the first term. 5 goals, 6-2 behinds. And that's where it was set up. Dennis Lane comes in from 52 metres. Pushes and misses. Let's have a look at Damien Hardwick's reaction when Greg kicked that goal to put the Tigers 37 points up. Yes, sir!
That's what victory looks like. For a player, they're screaming with laughter. For a coach, it's all relief.
And Greg was the man who gave him that relief.
That was the one that just released the pressure valve, didn't it?
They get about 8 hours off, don't they, Jason?
Grimes. Miller slaying his man out. Phoebe's free.
Jared, I reckon it's been a long time since Richmond have had a game played like this where everyone's just played their role and it's been a really solid team effort. It hasn't relied on one player being individually brilliant to get them over the line.
It's a really good point, and I think that's the hallmark of the sides that finally play September footy. What I'm of great interest to me, though, Kingy, is let's say Vickery's available next week. Do you use Martin and Rewald and Cochin, etc. as forwards again?
I would. I think that he's seen an answer today as the Swans go in and mark inside 450, but I think Damien Hardwick's learned a bit of a lesson today in terms of what he's got at his disposal with these gun midfielders who can play forward. We've seen Geelong do it for years with their midfielders going forward and kicking goals. I think it's the evolution of the Tigers again.
Trent Dennis Lane came on as the sub. First game of the season for him. Sydney Swans without a couple of their big guns, of course, Adam Goods and Shane Mumford. Strikes out well. And he gets his first of the year.
Well, the one thing he can do is kick goals. He's been sent back to work on his defensive efforts. And I think we've seen a couple of tackles tonight, which may help him continue his spot in the senior side. Trent's a guy with plenty of talent, but a career that's just been stalled a little bit. He's got to work hard to get it to the next level.
There's the Sydney Swans assignment over the next month. Melbourne at the SCG, secured to Western Bulldogs and Essendon. So some likely wins there for the Swans to get their season going again after a brilliant opening, but back-to-back losses. And that'll be the situation tonight. Jake King throws himself into the ball. Martin cops one high. Umpire says play on. They love to give these. He's on the wrong side of the pack, the umpire. And a free kick going to Seaby. Melcheski. Inside 50. Some jump time goals may be coming to the Swans. The Tigers really want to finish this off now. And away they go. Griggs gets it out to Grimes. Grimes looks up. Little handball. A give and go. Grimes back. Validio. Ellis. Handball over the top. Nahas has been good tonight. Canterbury tries hard. Ellis again. Slaps it forward. Seeby for the Swans. To Shaw, who drops it. Picked up by Martin. Look at that, but don't argue. If you don't mind. Grimes with a torpedo floating up to the forward 50. And it goes over the line, out of bounds, punched away by Teddy Richards. 2 minutes and 9 seconds on the clock. And the Tigers will be singing yellow and black, loud and proud tonight.
Kennedy wrapped up. Got a clearance of sorts. Trent Dennis-Lane through his legs. McVeigh to Jack, to Shaw. McLean, a little fumble on the wing. Corralled. Seconds ticking down and Hanbury caught way high. Bird wanted to play on, but the play stopped. Hanbury looks hurt. Corky perhaps.
Well, you mentioned Sam Reid earlier in the piece, just 1 kick, 4 handballs. He's a fellow that has got so much promise, and at the end of last
50,
year...
Bolton will have a shot, sorry Gerard.
Well, at the end of last year, it looked as if he's arrived, but footy's a tough business, and he's now finding out just how tough it is once you become the #1 man and everybody puts some time into you.
I think Hanbury really gave his quad a tweak there. His leg's stuck and he's gone off the ground in a lot of pain.
He did have a knee problem pre-season and it inhibited his pre-season. Hopefully it's not that. Bolton hits the post. As you can hear, Richmond fans enjoying every minute of this.
And all of a sudden the Swans injury list started to get a few serious names on it.
He had a surgery on that knee pre-season. Let's hope it's not that.
Long kick out to Jake King, who stood there for, I reckon, 15 seconds. It was a magnificent kick. 1:18 on the clock, Tiger fans. And season 2012 is alive for Richmond. Jackson at half-back. .28 points. Jackson's kick. Conker tries to crash through. Umpire says I'll have a bounce on centre wing. Inside the last minute.
How big's next week's going to be against Essendon?
It's going to be fantastic.
Huge.
So on centre wing, inside a minute left on the clock, the Tigers are going to rack up a memorable victory here in round 7 of the AFL season as the kick goes out to Ellis.
Takes on and wins. Newman bounces his way down the outer side to a huge round of applause. The captain to King. Another massive round of applause. They're all cult heroes at the moment. He hits a long bomb to the square. Rewalt's down there. He's up from 3 deep. Through some hands. And rolls through for a behind.
Swans have just struggled to counter Chris Newman as a loose defender, Jared. They haven't had any way of stopping his impact on the game. He's mopped up beautifully. He's brought other players into the game.
But that's their choice. They've had O'Keefe as loose across the half-back line in the third term and it worked for them. But right from the word go, they were happy for Richmond to play +1. And
the sleeping giant awakes. Richmond win 2 games in a row. They knock off the third place team on the ladder by 29 points in one of the games of the year. 40,352 at the MCG. Saturday afternoon football at its finest.
The long-suffering Tiger fans, well, for a moment there, they thought, no, surely not. We're not going to snatch victory from the jaws, or defeat from the jaws of victory, more to the point. But they prevailed. A fantastic last quarter. 5 goals to 2 to win by 29 points. And these long-suffering supporters, 32 years in the wilderness. Let's listen to the song.
Well, Nathan, what does that performance mean to you, mate? That was a terrific team effort.
Yeah, look, King, it's it's fantastic. We've been close against West Coast and Geelong and a few teams like that, so it's good to get a good result against such a good team in Sydney.
You've really been building as a unit. Today didn't rely on one individual. It was more of a complete package, as you said. The midfield group, you must feel confident now you can compete with anyone.
Yeah, look, we're getting some great depth through there, and look, credit to Ivan, he's been sensational. He's given us first use a lot of the time, and it makes it so much easier.
What about your own performance? You've missed a lot of football over the last few years. You really look like you're just enjoying yourself again.
Yeah, look, it's I've been lucky enough to have a pretty consistent, probably a year and a full pre-season, so it's going well. Just getting getting some run in the legs.
Have to reassess the goals after wins like this, or you just expected this, given the fact that you have been building for quite a while?
Oh, look, I wouldn't say we expected it, but we've been improving consistently over the first 7 rounds now, so we're just looking to improve our standard performance each week.
Good luck, mate. Go and enjoy.
Thanks, King.
Great win by the Richmond Football Club. Final scores 13-13-91. Defeated the Sydney Swans 8-14-62. By 29 points. They led by 34 points at quarter time, 32 at the half. The margin closed to a very nervous 14 at three-quarter time, but the Tigers of old have prevailed by 29 points. And as these young Tigers head down to that punt road end, boys, have a look at this. It's just fantastic.
They've been dying to come out in force, the Yellow and Black Army. They've been waiting for the tide to turn. And it's been a long time coming. Let's hope for their sake this is the start of it. He was one of the heroes today, Sean Grigg. 26 touches and 3 critical goals.
And Chris Newman, the captain, as you said, played such a pivotal role across the half-back line. I love him as a loose player because he just doesn't sit in a hole. He goes and impacts contests. He will help out and go and sacrifice his body if need be, and he also delivers it well.
One of the stars of the night was Sean Grigg with 3 magnificent goals, and they were big goals just when the Tigers needed them. And David King's got him on the MCG.
Thanks, Ed. Yeah, Sean, that was fantastic. Getting some love down here from the Richmond faithful, mate. You must be enjoying this.
Yeah, as you can hear it, mate, they're really loud and it's awesome to get them all down here at the MCG and to get a good win for them was really good.
A 3-goal performance from yourself, it make you feel like you're right at home now at the Tigers?
Yeah, I do. I've got a role to play and I just want to play it. I've been lucky enough to get the opportunity and lucky enough tonight to get on the end of a couple.
What does the coach give you as in terms of instruction and messages week to week? Do you get a run with role? Do you get a role to play in terms of a position? Or what's your instruction week to week?
I think it varies. I can play sort of a couple of positions, so that helps. So just playing my role every week, whatever it is, I'm happy to put my hand up and do.
How far can you go, mate?
Oh, you never know. The crowd's getting behind us and we're playing some good footy, so we'll just look to next week against the Bombers at Dreamtime and see how we go.
Good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks, King. Cheers.
Dreamtime of the G next week. It's Dreamtime of the G right now for the Tigers. Jack Revolt. Jason Dunstall, your thoughts?
Look, he's always in the firing line, isn't he? Whether he's kicking goals or trying to kick goals or giving away free kicks or riding the wave of emotions. He kicked 4 goals from 8 kicks.
Hit the post twice.
A couple of opportunities to bring teammates into play, but he certainly was a big part of contributing to this win.
Well, he's the last man off the ground. He's soaking up the atmosphere. He's enjoying every moment as the Tiger players congregate at the front of the race. We'll stick with it. We'll go right into the Tigers' rooms, hear them sing the song. So Dustin Martin in his 50th game leads the Tigers off the ground. Ivan Maric, what a recruit he's been. And there's not a hand that Jack Revolt will miss on the way through. Great scenes for the long-suffering Tiger fans. As we follow them down into the underground car park here at the MCG. A quick left turn, we'll be in the rooms with the Tigers.
From a football landscape perspective in Victoria, it is great to have the Tigers up and going, isn't it?
At a time with developing teams coming into the competition, it is so important for attendances and for everything TV ratings to have the big teams up and going, and that's what the AFL have got at the moment. Of course, a great result today with Greater Western Sydney notching up their first win over the Gold Coast.
I think we'll find out just next week just how many people support the Tigers.
The Tigers and the Bombers at the MCG. Let's listen to the song. Tigers mean business. They've loved the song. And the Tigers of old, they're back in town. Richmond 91, Sydney 62.
Saturday twilight football at the MCG, and what a match it was. The Tigers burst out of the blocks. The main man, Jack Riewoldt, got the ball rolling when he kicked the first goal of the match. Dustin Martin followed up and they were off to an absolute flyer. Riewoldt with his second, a couple of early goals to really get them up and running. A pretty tense struggle in the second term. An intercept from Hanbury gave the Swans their first goal. And Big Ivan Maric, you don't expect Ruckman to snap too many goals like that. And then, as expected, it was the third quarter comeback from the Swans. Grundy got on the scoreboard. Then it was Josh Kennedy who continues to just play good game after good game. And then the Tigers got back to controlling the footy as they did in the first half. Riewoldt celebrated. There was an interchange infringement, which cost them a goal. Mark Seavey was the beneficiary in that instant. Then Deledio, a long bomb from 55. And Sean Grigg, the third of his three. And Damien Hardwick, wasn't he happy with an impressive performance in the end, a 29-point margin in favour of the Tigers. 13-13, 91 to 8-14, 62. Riewoldt with 4, Grigg 3, Miller 2, the multiple goal scorers. Josh Kennedy, the only multiple goal scorer for the Sydney Swans with 2. And it was a massive discrepancy, Gerard Healy, particularly in terms of disposals.
Yeah, well, the Sydney Swans had a quarter, the first quarter, where they just had a level of, or lack of disposal that emulated the numbers we used to get 40 years ago in this game of footy. Then the Tigers burst out with 5-0. They had to do something wrong, really wrong, if they were to lose this game, despite the great efforts of the Swans in the third quarter to make it a really interesting contest. Just about spent all their petrol tickets, and in the finish it was the Tigers. And just having got the Swans goal kickers, they've got a problem in the forward line at the moment. No Adam Goods. The structure's totally devastated in many ways, particularly with Sam Reid just not getting anywhere near the amount of football that you'd expect of a bloke that we saw as one of the best young forwards in the business last year.
We spoke to Richmond coach Damien Hardwick prior to the game. You could see he was a little on edge. He was expecting something from his boys. I reckon he's got a big smile on his face. David King's caught up with him down in the Tigers' rooms.
Thanks, Jace. It was an easy day in the office in the end, wasn't it, Damien? Hey, got away to a flyer and just hard held at the end.
Yeah, look, it's never an easy day against the Swans, mate. As you know, they're a formidable outfit, and they're always going to come back. We just had to solidify a few things, made a couple of adjustments after half-time, and sort of got the chocolates in the end, which is a good result.
It was almost a complete performance, and I think you've been building this base, this foundation for quite a while of how you want the side to play, and it doesn't necessarily rely on any one player having a day out. It was the complete performance by the whole group of 22 today.
No, you're spot on. Look, at the end of the game, we'll try to find someone to sub off, and, you know, it nearly got to the stage where we thought was Ellis. Well, do we have to actually bring him on? But Batchelor got a cork, I think, late, so we actually ended up bringing him off. So the great thing about our spread of players now is the depth. I think that's much improved, and our recruiting department done a great job. And we don't rely on Koch and Martin Deledio week in, week out. Foley, Grigg, these type of players, Tuck, they're just making us a better side.
Timmer, congratulations. A fantastic win for the Tigers. You're talking there looking for someone to sub off. Well, you subbed on Ellis, and it didn't quite work out the way you expected it to.
Yeah, the funny one, mate. I just said to him before, he owes me a goal. But look, that's the thing. It's just such a hectic bloody thing, the boundary line these days. So look, he's going to be a good player for us. He's probably getting a little bit tired at the moment. So whether he plays or not next week, we'll just have to wait and see.
Damien, just a few names: Rance, Grigg, Morris, and Hurley off that half-back line. They're just giving you so much great run, and yet in the third quarter it evaporated. What was the message at three-quarter time?
Yeah, look, we just spoke about trying to spread. Obviously, Sydney very, very strong one-on-one, so we just tried to spread them all over the field and trust our kicks. That way we could hit a little lead up here and there. I think we had, I don't know how many uncontested marks we had, but we felt we could get them, march the ball up much better inside 50, but probably just didn't get the reward for effort. I think sometimes inside 50 we just bombed the ball a little bit too long. So, look, it worked on the day. They're such a good side, though, Sydney. They come back, and that's one of the greatest things about this win. To beat a great footy club like that is very exciting for us.
I think you expected them to fight back. We expect them to fight back. They did in the third term, but it was hard putting a finger on exactly what happened from a Richmond perspective. Was it the effort of the first half? All of a sudden, You didn't seem to play the same possession footy. The Swans were able to start getting some uncontested ball, and the defensive pressure wasn't as intense as the first half.
Yeah, you're right. Look, they threw O'Keefe behind the ball, which stifled us for a little bit of time there. They actually controlled the ball more so than us at that stage. Yeah, their uncontested marks lifted, and once we equalised, we put someone put Jackson. I think it was to O'Keefe. Certainly helps things and started to turn the scoreboard. I think they kicked 5 goals for that quarter, and we kicked 2-4. So we probably didn't take a number of opportunities, but as you said, we just couldn't get our hands on the ball for a sustained period of time.
Running your gun midfielders through the square seems to be working particularly well for you. Particularly early in the piece, they were all involved in some goals.
Sorry, mate, it's hard to hear. I think it was something about our centre bounce work. I didn't quite hear it. Sorry, guys.
Talking about the forwards rotating out of the goal square, the midfielders rotating in the forward line.
Yeah, look, with Koch and Martin Delidio, these type of players, I don't know how many goals they kicked between them today, but that's a great thing about our midfield players. Between them all, they can actually push forward and take a mark, and it's certainly another weapon for us, especially when we lost Vickery. He was an important structural loss for us today, and to have those guys being able to push forward and damage the scoreboard is certainly a good result.
Dimmer, a fantastic performance, well coached, and the did it to a T. Congratulations on a great win.
Thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Damien Hardwick, the coach of the Richmond Football Club, who I reckon will be breathing a little bit easier, starting to get some reward for effort now. One of those players you mentioned, Jared, I don't think perhaps gets rated the way a lot of other players do. Sean Gregson's coming over from Carlton. He started to just get possessions at will, but also he's proven himself as a goal-kicking midfielder.
Well, he can play at both ends of the ground, can't he? Go up forward and kick goals. He kicks a lot of goals when he's playing off that half-back line or even off the wing. He pushes up and he knows where they are. He's got that usual ability of left-footers, and that's to kick the ball round corners and kick them long. Here he is, just floating forward and getting himself another goal. And he was such a potent player. I want to ask you about Ty Vickery, though. We know that he's a structural player, but to me he hasn't fired at all this season. I think that's well documented. He's got an injury, he's out. What does he do for Richmond, and where do you play him to get the best benefit? Because clearly they can't go through the season without him in the side. They need a backup ruckman.
Well, I think, though, that on today's performance, he's not an automatic selection when he's fit. He's got to force his way back in with form because they look better in terms of their structure from a defensive perspective. When the ball hit the deck in their forward 50, it didn't rebound as easily as it has in the past. I'm not having a go at Tyrone Vickery, but that happens when you've got talls that aren't as agile. So I think it's a matter of wait till he strikes his good form, and then, yes, he's an important player for them. But if he's not playing well, go with the structure that you've got. We see a lot of decisions throughout the course of the day and rule changes. There was a Nahas tackle that looked particularly nasty, but you wouldn't think anything untoward to come out of it. It's just he got him at a different angle, so he was sort of pulling the head down because he's almost tackled him upside down.
Yeah, I don't think there was too much downward force.
A bit of forehead on the deck.
Yeah, I knew I did mention the grass was going to be coming out of his teeth. That might have been Dwayne, but what does it all mean?
Well, the Adelaide Crows had a good win today. They go to 6-1, so Sydney drop out of the top 4. They're 5-2. The Bombers and Carlton a chance to consolidate. St Kilda and Collingwood will be looking to jump back up into the top 8. And look at the bottom of the table. GWS Giants up to 16th over top of Gold Coast and Melbourne. Of course, the action continues tonight. Plenty of great stuff coming your way on Fox Footy, so you can catch all of that. It's Essendon West Coast from Etihad Stadium, Brisbane Lions and Collingwood from the Gabba. That's all for us from the MCG. It was the Tigers by 29 points.